Tonight, we're bringing this week's Flight Sim News. IniBuilds join us to give us an update on their current projects. We also check out some new features coming to SayIntentions and take a look at Aeroplane Heaven's Fury. Hello? Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hello there. Welcome to the middle of the week, the halftime show, the hump day. Welcome to the news. Hope you're all keeping well. News. I mean, it's kind of busy. Sort of, nearly, almost. Let's get kind of straight into it. For anyone who's new here, by the way, these intros, they only last about 2.5 minutes, so you'll have to bear with me, as we spend the next 2.5 minutes. But tonight, friends, yes, we're going to catch up with all of this week's Flight Sim news, and IniBuilds will be joining us in about an hour's time, chatting about their latest projects, some upcoming projects. That should be interesting. We're also going to be checking out some features that are coming to SayIntentions, and of course we'll be checking out the machine beside me. The airliner guys are like, what the hell is this? Aeroplane Heaven's latest release of the Hawker Fury. It's also a Nimrod. There's a twin bag. But that's what's in store this evening. Hope your day has been great. We're that little bit closer, friends, to the weekend. Yes, we can see Friday on the horizon. This is great news. I was in work today. Very busy. Not doing anything else I shouldn't have been at all. It was great. But it's quite cold here in our beloved little Ireland. It's raining and it's about 9 degrees. It's practically summer. Right. But man alive, the excitement around the upcoming A350 from IniBuilds. I mean, we've got 2 streams so far to show everything, give us a taste of what to expect. And I got to say, I mean, I usually, you'll find me general aviation, helicopters, the odd time in airliners. But this thing, looks incredible. So looking forward to having the lads on for the chat in a little while. So, who's here? Who's rambled in? You're very good. Did you bring something nice with you? Like a drink or something, or, something nice. We'll see, right? The bot is having all sorts of cracks, so if the bot's acting up, lads, just don't mind it. We're training it. Yeah. And when it's misbehaving, we give out to it. But there's buttons all over the shop. CP65 is here. Happy Wednesday. Chaz Babylon, welcome in. Vacuum, good to see you. Spitfire, RAF 100 is here in the chat. Happy Wednesday. Super Typhon rambles in. Good to see you, man. Tech 7, good to see you. Viper Strike is here. He flew a 787 to Shanghai. Nice. The Forgetful Larry has rambled in. What's the story? Morning glory. Good to see you, Larry. Hope you're well. Mr. 90 is here. Good to see you. Airwolf, 34 months with a tier 1 sub. Thank you very, very much indeed, Airwolf. You're looking well. Jesus. Things are getting out of hand now. We'll continue on. Limping. Who else came in there? Eamon 1973. Good to see you. Super Ty is on a 3-3 stream streak. Pronunciation, right? We'll get there. It's totally fine. Thank you, Super Ty. Willow, how much? Good evening. APU Inspector is here. Fierce Wolf, looking fierce. Dan Wolfie, I'm after hitting me, Mike. Welcome in, man. Who else come in the door there now? Belbro, good evening. He says, good evening, Murph and chat. What's up this week, Aj? Lots of news, Aj. We just put the word Aj behind everything for no apparent reason. It makes no sense. Anthony V, good evening. Lead Ballooner is here. Mac Vision, good to see you. Liptorius has rambled in. Where's me tunes? Hang on, we've tunes. Yes. Do you know the stereotype and all of it? I like it. Right, moving on. Liptorius, good evening. Old Veteran 965, he says, howdy all. Hope it's a great hump day. Bitter cold here today with a tad bit of wind. All the way in Texas. Good to see you, Scott. Mo Aviator, welcome aboard. Toto 2495 is here. Hello. Jan Race, good evening. Who else come in the door now? Tarnish Mossman is here. 10 streams in a row, man. Oh, behave. Got friends are in the chat. Good afternoon, morning, and evening. In that order. Welcome in, lads. Hope you're well. Who else come in? Idle Cutoff, good to see you. PH Roy, happy Wednesday. Why Can Yes is here. Evening, all. So we have a patch just released. From who? It checks profanity on your call sign and flight numbers. AJH and other words to that effect. Black Ice Gabe, good to see you, my dude. Aviator Chill is here. 6 knots, good evening. Hope you're well, Kieran. Scott, 7 streams in a row. Oh my. You're very welcome in. Shuffle Shoes, shuffles in. AJH John, happy Wednesday. Paul Vaughn, good to see you, Paul. Soaring AJ. AJH man, how's she cutting? Zybok Duck calling from Denmark. Hello from Tipperary. Hope you're keeping very well. Petrolhead is in the chat. Helric, good evening. Vasco from MSFSaddons.com. Good to see you, my friend. Hope all is well. Paparazzi is here. He says, evening everyone. Taking a break from moving and hoping for some good newsage. Hope all is well. You're looking well, paparazzi. It's weller you're looking. Do you know? Muse fan bursts in the door with his elbow. He says how he is his mad jokes. Happy hump day all. Liverpool are currently 1-0 up. Jesus, spoiler alert. Crazer Core is here for 34 months. Thank you very, very much indeed, my guy. Hope you're well. Who else came in now? Schutz says, good evening. Hope we're all ready for the A350 exclusive. Exclusive, you say? Jemima, welcome aboard. Sean Dale is here. Memphis Ton for 32 months. Thank you very, very much indeed, my guy. Hope you're well. Light Bison is here, enjoying the trucking. Right. Larry caused a terrible accident. But yes, Stick Figure is here. Good to see you. Who else come in here now? Nick, you're very welcome aboard. From a dreary Cambridge, he says. It's a bit like that in Tipperary. We're sharing the same weather. Totally fine. Right, we're over here now. Look, Airlock Doc is in the house. Happy News Day. In today's news, Murph did a thing and it went sort of meh. That's very accurate. Airlock, I don't know how you do it, but you know how to keep it accurate. Right, it's 1-1 now. Muse! Right, you jinxed it. Right, Nutty Snack, good evening. Let me see now. Jesus. Strap21, good to see you. Colonel Fork 85, welcome aboard. The Colonel is here. Vasco then subscribing for 23 months. Thank you very, very much indeed, my guy. Very kind of you. Raspberry Soda. Indeed. Actoris is here, welcome aboard. Strap, you're very welcome in. Death's Angel has subscribed with Prime for 2 months. Thank you very much indeed. It's all happening now, lads, isn't it? Steve is in the house. Good afternoon, all. Once again from a chilly Chicago. Steve, put the kettle on now in November because we're heading over there, you know, to absolutely bait the heads of the All Blacks. Ireland take on New Zealand in Chicago in November. Commiserations to our Kiwi friends. It was always going to happen, though, wasn't it? And then I'll just disappear then, you know, if we don't win. Jesus. But hope you're well. Trixillian, good to see you. Tombs Wednesday already. Thank the heavens. Good to see you, man. Where's this now? We've buttons here. Sean Dale says, do you think IniBuilds could point to some great tutorial vids for the Beluga? I can't get my head around it. Well, why don't we take it for a jaunt someday and we'll learn together in a safe environment, you know, with fire and stuff. The Beluga, it's a mad looking plane, that, isn't it? Defiant Prawn, good to see you. Cannonballer is here. 777, welcome aboard. He says, lurking tonight. I'm not in a good place. I don't know why. Just one of those things. Onwards and gears up. Well, listen, as bad as you think things are, right? And I'm not trying to take them away from you. They could be bad, right? But just for a second, step into the life of Murphy. Right, now on today's schedule of doing stupid stuff, I actually wasn't too bad yet. It's still early, lads, but I've already done stupid things this week. I broke the plant pot thing, ornament gadget that was outside the front of the house. It was basically, it's like a half a keg. And there was soil in it with nice flowers and plants. And, well, it's winter time, so, you know, the plants are all, they're shagged. But anyway, I was out there chatting the other morning and I said, Jesus, that's a hardy bit, you know, kicking it. And what did I do? Put my foot through it. And, of course, all the soil came out. And then I got the young lad to put it in the bin today. I now need to buy another figurine, you know, thing to make the house look nice. That's what I did, right? And that was just like, that wasn't even planned or nothing, do you know? But feel better soon, my guy. Feel better soon. Heisenberg, good to see you. Now, apparently folks have been using profanity call signs in the previous Sim 1 update beta. Oh, were they? Jesus. Gabe says, Murph, I watched a vid today on SayIntentions. Apparently your voice is being used. And the guy said you had a very strong Irish accent. They want to know why I'm into... Hang on now. They want to throw him into the middle of the Healy Rays in Kerry. Could you imagine, though? You know, a thick Irish accent. You might think my accent is bad. That's chicken feed, lads. Right. You could be down the road in Kerry and they be speaking like this the whole time. You wouldn't understand what they're saying. What did your man say? What did he actually say? Right, and we have them as politicians here. We just don't understand what they say, but they do great things, we're led to believe. Creo, good to see you. Tarek is here, welcome aboard. Where's this now? Larry the Laxative, Jesus. That's a great name, though. Photos by Kev is here. He says, evening, pretty purple peoples. Welcome in, Kev. You're looking well. Roko's in the house. Zonorous, welcome aboard. P.S. Morandai. Hello there.
Hello there.
You're looking well. Who's this now? Plum Stars, welcome aboard. 3 months, my guy. Thank you very, very much indeed. Where is this now? Robbie Bass is here. Jesus, lads, it's busy. Rumblesnat, good to see you. Who else now come in the door? Owen Pilot. Every time I rejoin, I got to watch. Oh, wait. I got to watch. An intro. Wait, what? Don't worry, Owen. It's all grand. You know, you'll have a pain in your head, but it'll be grand. You know, that fella's still on the telly. Just imagine if Murphy actually planned to break the doorstep widget. It could happen, lads. It could happen. Right. I don't know now if I've missed anyone or, you know, if I've jumped ahead or, you know what I'm saying. But anyone who's here just for IniBuilds, they'll be with us, lads, at the top of the hour. What we do between now and then, as I said, it's about a 2-minute intro. We're about 30 seconds in, and we're going to bring us up to date with all the week's flight sim news, covering all the flight sim news that we can get our hands on. So we're going to jump into that here now in a moment, right? Fortnote says, this is so useless. So's your face. Right, quick, come over here now. Cloud Toe is here over on YouTube. Rex is in the house. Northland Air, good evening. Dave Cleary, a legend, Dave. Welcome in. Who else come in? Gummy Dag, welcome in. Dutch Flight Sim, you're very welcome. Mrs. TPHI, happy Wednesday. Who else come in there? Goose. Hello, Goose. You're looking well, man. Mr. Classic is here. Visualize. Good to see you. Giacomo's in the house. Who else come in? Black Sheep Jean. I'm here now. You have my permission to begin. Right. Grand Jean. We're good to go. Steve Stavros, welcome aboard. Clear Prop live streams. How are you, man? Zappel is here. Who else come in the door? Rian, welcome aboard. Aviation Edits, how are you? Martin Daly, welcome aboard. Rob Orr, he says hello from Halifax in Nova Scotia. Hello from Tipperary, man. Martin Daly, welcome in. F35 for the win. Nice. Simon Pert, good to see you. Jamie is here. Paul Tull, hello Paul. Fortnote, again he says it. I didn't hear you the first time. Right, where is this now? All yap, no show. What are you looking for? If you're here for the IniBuild stuff, that's at 2100 Zulu, right? You know, if you can read this science. There's a science invented by the Irish. Brilliant. But yeah, no, they'll be on at 9 o'clock. So if you have any questions for IniBuilds, well, 9 o'clock is when the lads will be joining us. And, well, sure, let us know then. I'll be sure to read it. Brilliant. Anyway, right, Simon Pert, yes, you're very welcome in. Right, shall we begin with the news, friends, as we get ourselves up and running. Take to the skies. Good to see you. E. Wald is here. Welcome in, lads. Where is this now? Zonorous is in Rotterdam.
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
That's a big 10-4. Who else is this now? Jesus, Heavy Equation, thank you very much. Tier 1, man. Thank you very much. Guinness or Kilkenny, says Paul. Depends where on the island you are, but Guinness is usually good. Guinness is usually good. Right, 30 seconds. Tarnish, I'm telling you now. B. Carlo, good to see you. Mr. Dan is here. Caffrey's. Why would you say Caffrey's? Right, we'll jump over to another screen and we'll go through the news. And then, as I said, we'll have the lads on at 9 o'clock. Brilliant, right? I mean, it's precision accuracy now, lads. That's what we're going for. I have a pedal that turns off this light. Did you just see? Brilliant. Right, the production value here now, lads. Ridiculous, I know, but you listen. Right. Now, if you're looking at your screens, this is the Airbus A3... No, it's not. It's the Aeroplane Heaven, the Hawker Fury. And similar to that of the Hawker Nimrod, they're pretty much the same aircraft. One was developed for aircraft carriers, the other one for airfields and the like. It was a pre-war or interwar, that's better, an interwar design, meaning that somewhere between the First and the Second World Wars, these things were all the jazz. And, well, the Hawker Fury, this led a massive raid down into Italy with the RAF. So the aircraft were still quite capable early into the war. And, well, Aeroplane Heaven, this is their latest release. And we're going to check this one out a little bit later on, you see. But until we get to that, lads, we're going to hit the old escape key and we're going to bring up the news. Now, our news tonight brought to us by MSFSaddons.com. Massive shout out to Vasco. And of course, we have the lads over at FS Elite, to Callum and all the lads. And we have news from Threshold here as well. So greetings to all our friends providing us with the news. And sure, listen, we'll kind of just, you know, edge our way into it and keep an eye on my clock. Not like me to run late or early for that matter. Do you know, Elaine Benes, good to see you, Elaine. Ethan is here. The Armchair Wanderer, welcome aboard. What is your 2.5 minute intro taking 2.5 hours and a half? What is or why? What are you talking about? Your clock is moving the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? Right, anyway, lads, news here. Big radials. We've been following this story for a while, and we flew this on the stream. They're Lockheed Jetstar. It's now leaving early access, and they're setting for a marketplace release on February the 20th, which is tomorrow. She's going to release tomorrow. So Big Radials have announced that their rendition of the Lockheed Jetstar, wasn't this the one that Elvis Presley had? I think it was. For Microsoft Flight Sim, well, it's exiting early access and it's going to be available on the marketplace this coming Thursday. It marks the culmination of months of work that was put into a select few dozens of early backers who provided valuable feedback during the early access stage, helping the developer refine the aircraft ahead of its full release. And I remember when Big Radials, when they started talking about this, they said, look, this is early access. It was their way of asking the community to kind of help guide the ship, as it were. Do you know? In their official announcement shared on social media, Big Radials expressed gratitude to all the simmers who supported the project in its early access phase. The developer has now removed the early access banner and discount from the store as they transition to a full release. Version 1.01, the latest update, rolling out ahead of the marketplace launch, incorporating refinements and bug fixes based on user feedback. Nice. One of the highlights accompanying the full release is the newly published documentation. Currently spans 80 pages, lads. According to Big Radials, the extensive manual includes detailed historical insights about the Jetstar, in-depth technical explanations, and a particular focus on the aircraft's complex fuel system. Given the aircraft's six-tank fuel configuration, proper management is essential, and the documentation aims to provide a thorough understanding for users. The documentation also includes a full series of checklists to assist pilots in operating the aircraft, and Big Radials have already implemented some checklists in the sim, with additional refinements expected later this week. The goal is to integrate comprehensive procedural guidance for sim pilots, ensuring an authentic experience while they fly in the Jetstar. Of course, the Lockheed Jetstar, one of the first dedicated business jets, gaining recognition for the distinctive quad-engine configuration, powered by a Pratt & Whitney JT12-8A, each producing 3,300 pounds of thrust. The aircraft is capable of cruising up to Mach 0.8 and reaching altitudes of 40,000 feet. It was a personal aircraft of Elvis Presley. And I think, didn't this sit somewhere for ages? Didn't it sit like abandoned or something on a ramp for years? And I've read a story. They're either refurbing it or it's going into a museum. Anyway, the features of this release: a fully interactive cockpit, custom avionics, support for both the TDS and PMS-50, that's their GTN 750 nav system, detailed fuel system simulation, autopilot functionality, and also a custom SIVA INS navigation system with initial functionality for waypoint entry and heading bug control. Nice. So, marketplace release aiming for tomorrow. Keep your eyes on it, lads. It's a Flight Sim 2020 release, and you should be able to grab this for about $30, give or take. Did Goldfinger have it? Not quite sure. Right, now, Sonny Williamson, good to see you. When is the Flight Sim 24 marketplace coming out? They said it was going to be after Sim Update 1, which is currently pushed back, so we kind of have to wait just a little while. Now, moving over to Miltech Simulations and Blackbird Simulations, well, they're teaming up to bring the MH60 to Microsoft Flight Simulator. The Blackhawk. This is gorgeous looking. So Miltech have just released their latest aircraft a few weeks ago, of course, the M2K, the Mirage 2000, but the team is already preparing us for what's coming next. This time, a return to rotorcraft. Miltech have announced that they are in the final stages of development of the MH60 helicopter, developed in collaboration with Blackbird Simulations, and it's coming to both Flight Sim 2020 and Flight Sim 2024. Interestingly, a little bit over a year ago, Blackbird Simulations revealed they had an MH60 in advanced development and planned to release it under their Shrike brand, but it seems those plans may have now folded into the project we're seeing today. MSFS add-ons reached out to Blackbird to comment, but they haven't given them a response just yet. In any case, per Miltech's words, the announcement marks the culmination of years of research into the weapon systems, the external sling loads, and also the mission-based content. Judging by their wording, they are setting the stage for one of the most comprehensive rotary wing experiences in the sim. You might remember this from their CH-47. I mean, they have on the tablet, they have the sling commands and there are missions there. So it'll be interesting to see what this one does. Look at that machine though, isn't it gorgeous? With the project now in the final integration stage, the MH60 expected to release within the next 2 months or so, Miltech Simulations confirms that the package will feature 3 distinct variants, the Sierra, Romeo and Jayhawk, each reflecting the real-world counterparts with varied cabin configurations and unique mission capabilities. A key highlight, of course, showing us that it has a mission system designed to support search and rescue, Coast Guard, anti-submarine warfare, and so on. Miltech Simulations state that this system will not be limited to their MH60. It'll also integrate with other aircraft in their catalogue, which, of course, is expanding. Additionally, the developers have confirmed the inclusion of several handcrafted mini scenery elements aimed at enhancing immersion for these mission-based scenarios. So, naturally, this announcement, many will be asking, well, what about the Black Hawk? While Miltech acknowledge the strong demand for a UH-60 variant, they state it would be a separate product with no estimate release time point or timeline at this point. The Black Hawk may have a very similar airframe, but it uses a completely different avionics suite. Well, there you go. To build anticipation for this aircraft, they will be sharing a behind-the-scenes development insight in a series of dev blogs over the coming weeks. So we'll get a chance to have a little look. But you can see from these pictures here, guys, I mean, it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? I'm after learning this. I thought they were the same chopper. Like, whenever I see them, oh yeah, it's a Black Hawk. What was that poor devil who fell out? Oh, Blackburn. It was Blackburn, do you remember? Poor old devil, God love him. What a movie as well. But anyway, really looking forward to that chopper coming into the sim. Now, we have news here over to FS Elite from PMDG announcing their Op Center 3, the 777-200ER in beta, and some encouraging Flight Sim 2024 port news. Interesting. So, Robert from PMDG has provided us with some updates. Positive news for those waiting on the 777-200. Robert confirmed that the product is now gone into beta testing. The new aircraft variant in the 777 lineup will include all 3 engine types, your General Electric, Rolls-Royce and Pratt & Whitney, along with the accurate engine performance and other differences compared over the other 777 variants. As previously announced, the 777-200 extended range will come to flights in 2020 and then be released over on 2024 at a later release date. No time frame has yet been provided. So when it comes to porting over their aircraft in compatibility mode for Flight Sim 2024, well, it's no secret that PMDG have been working to get their aircraft into the new sim, and they have faced a fair share of challenges. They've been using the latest build of the sim and the SDK. They are seeing a high degree of success, which is certainly encouraging news. They aren't completely comfortable that everything has been resolved. They're still seeing some cockpit freezing, but stability is improved compared to where things were just a few weeks ago. Progress will continue to be made, and communication between Asoba, Microsoft and PMDG will continue to ensure that the products will be included in the new sim. As previously stated, the plan is to bring the 777 series to Flight Sim 24 first, then they're going to look at the 7.3. As for the DC-6, the team has been trying to bring that plane into the new sim. It was meant to be an easy conversion, but they are seeing issues with laggy instrument and other issues, and they've reported these instances to the right people, but they're waiting to hear back. Now, we're currently flying the DC-6 on our Monday night series, and the only issue I've noticed is the delay of the animations. I mean, the aircraft systems, temperatures, pressures, and there's a lot going on in that DC-6. They all seem to be fairly within their normal levels, right? It's purely an animation thing from the internal view, but it flies really well. Now, I know PH Roy has been flying it with the latest sim update on the beta. He says it's running fine. So fingers crossed it all comes together. The 2 projects also moving along, the 747-4 and also the -1. And in this post, we see 2 new images showing the engineer station. And this is all work in progress. Textures yet to be put onto them, lads. But if you're definitely looking forward to the Queen of the Skies and you're looking for the classic variant, well, PMDG are well at work at putting all of this together for us. I think the only option we have for a 7.4 Classic is probably the Felis over an X-Plane. So it looks, this could be class to get this into Flight Sim for sure. But they are working ahead on it. And then the last bit then, Robert took time to announce more information about their upcoming updated operations center. They've been accelerating the development of a new modern interface that will manage all the PMDG product installations. You'll be able to manage updates, preview changes, rollbacks, and also implement new distribution channels like stable, experimental, and even beta builds. It'll also handle the listening of products and give PMDG more data and diagnosing and resolving problems. They're saying the new Ops Center has entered beta testing, and when it does roll out, it'll be released alongside other methods to install and manage update. Fair enough. Great news though, a lot of stuff happening at PMDG. For Simmers, they've released a realistic vehicles mod for Flight Sim 2020. A developer well known for creating a range of affordable aircraft liveries, mods and scenery, well, they've launched a new product aimed at improving immersion at all the default airports worldwide. The new mod, titled Realistic Vehicles, well, it replaces the default parking lot vehicles in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 with highly detailed, optimized 3D models, aiming to be more, or to bring more variety and realism to the ground scenery. And I gotta say, they look pretty good. One of the common critiques of the default flight sim scenery is the lack of variety and realism of the vehicles scattered across airport environments. Now, I did see an update when over in Arizona with the global preview. They were showing us new models that they used for vehicles, and they looked an awful lot better. Haven't really seen them yet, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But anyway, many of the vehicles appear at the moment to be quite generic and even outdated, often breaking immersion when viewed up close. With realistic vehicles, Simmers aims to fix that by introducing a diverse range of new vehicle models, making airport surroundings look a bit more believable. No Skodas though, that's right. I mean, I'll have to get that just to see. The enhancement is applied across default airports, World Update airports, and even third-party payware sceneries that uses the Microsoft Flight Sim built-in vehicle assets. Some developers like Pyragui, is it, and others, they use their own vehicles, right? They just have their own assets. So they probably won't be affected, but all the kind of generic ones will be. Users can expect a significant upgrade in the overall look of the airport car parks, everything from sedans, compact cars, luxury vehicles, delivery vans, and maybe even a Skoda. The promise is that realistic vehicles has been carefully optimized to maintain smooth performance, ensuring minimal FPS impact, even on console. So the developers have tested the mod extensively and are already planned updates based on user feedback. There's a picture here you can kind of see a before and an after, left-hand side being before, right-hand side being after, and yeah, it is a huge difference. I mean, if you're looking from afar, you're not really going to cop it, but once you start getting up close and personal to it, you're definitely going to see it. And we have another example here. Again, that's the current Flight Sim vehicles on the left, and then we have the updated one here on the right. Plenty of owl Audis there, you can see.
Hello there.
So look, it's an interesting project for sure. It's available now on the Microsoft Flight Sim Marketplace. You can pick it up for $7.99. So, yeah, have at it, lads. It's from 4Simmers. You'll find it in the Marketplace. Now, Tarbert have released Detroit City Scene for X-Plane. A quick jump over to X-Plane because they've released a full kind of city scene for Detroit. In recent posts on social media, the availability of new scenery for X-Plane was announced. Scenery developer Tarbert has on this occasion recreated the city and skyline of Detroit in the US state of Michigan. The scenery covers mostly the city itself, meaning it should blend in with any custom Detroit airports, such as the Wayne County. With a focus on the city itself, many of the landmark buildings that make up the skyline are featured, such as the Comerica Park, Ford Field, Little Caesars Arena, and the Guardian Building, to name just a few. The scenery is a standalone package, meaning it doesn't require any external libraries or software to run. Nice. According to the developer, the scenery is tuned for both day and nighttime flying and features photorealistic base textures while remaining friendly to frame rates. They mention the objects and buildings are based on real-world data, aiming to recreate the position and dimensions as accurately as possible, and is compatible with both X-Plane 11 and 12. The scenery available over on SimMarket and the xplane.org store for a price ranging roughly between $8 to kind of $12, give or take. And yeah, it's nice to see this kind of stuff in X-Plane, isn't it? The night lighting in X-Plane, by the way, it's photos don't really do it justice, but do be sure if you don't already, be sure to check out QA Pilot's channel. He's doing quite a good bit of X-Plane content, as is Conti. And when you get to see the sim at nighttime, it looks very, very impressive for sure. And there's all sorts of lighting mods going on there, so it's nice to see more scenery going for X-Plane because. Well, it's just nice to see, do you know? Right, moving on, back to Flight Sim. Orbex, they've released Sandane Airport for the sim. They recently released a rendition of this scenery. It's based in Norway, has a yearly average of 37,000 passengers. It was built in the early 1970s, opened in 75, and then the only airport serving the district of Nordfjord. Due to the geography and low regularity, its initial years were plagued by severe turbulence, which eventually partially mitigated in the following decades by a terminal expansion and runway extension. Ooh, look at the cut of this though. You're already sitting there going, can I get an A350 onto that? Right? The regulatory issues was addressed relatively recently by installing navigation systems, ultimately reducing the cancelled flights to a mere 5%. Its pre-ILS days were rather grim, with aircraft often dealing with low-vis, extreme winds and insufficient runway. This looks to be a very challenging runway indeed. It's served by, Widerøe, has obligatory public service flights over to Bergen, Oslo, flown by the Dash 8. Norwegian government subsidises all of the routes. So, interesting spot. Scenery features accurate rendition of the airport, 2K PBR textures, custom ground decals, crisp ortho imagery, custom approach lighting, ground equipment, and more. Look at the detail here, lads.
Hello there.
Very pretty. Hello there. Very, very pretty indeed. So, what can we tell you? It's available now over on Orbex Direct. It's around $12, requiring about 900 megabytes of free hardware or hard drive space. And well, do be sure to check it out. That story coming in from Threshold. Now, we're nearly there. Hold the excitement. Parallel 42, they're bringing their off-road fun back to Microsoft Flight Sim, bringing the Juice Goose into Flight Sim 2024. Microsoft Flight Sim, known for its vast, detailed world, but who says you always have to explore it from the air? And they're not the only ones now. There's a lot of competition in this area. Parallel 42 just dropped the Juice Goose, an electric off-road UTV built for this adventure, designed to take simmers beyond the taxiways and into the rough terrain of the Sims landscapes. The add-on, it's now available for both PC and Xbox. Unlike the aircraft we're used to in the sim, the Juice Goose is all about ground-based exploration. But this isn't just a generic vehicle drop-in. Parallel 42 have built it with precision and personality. The Juice Goose was already available in Flight Sim 2020 for a while, and it's now officially made its way into Flight Sim 24 with 3 variants. You have the Crawler, 141 brake horsepower, perfect for slow, controlled climbs and navigating rocky terrain. You have the Touring, 242 horsepower, balanced choice for everyday exploration. And then you have the Speedster with 500 horsepower, high performance, just to make you go absolutely bananas. Bit of a video here. We'll play this one from Edson. And as I said, like, these guys have a lot of steep competition in this area. I just want to see, you know, can we drive these into the planes and then land and then drive these out? Right, I mean, that'd be brilliant. But hang on, we'll play a bit of music and we'll check out this video, lads.
Hello there. So the Juice Goose, we've seen it before, but it's here again in Flight Sim 2024 from Parallel 42. And yeah, immense fun these things are. Now, a little bit awkward. I mean, if you're sitting there with your flight controls, these are primarily aimed to work with your Xbox controller. And they're just nuts. They're just absolutely crazy. And, well, this is now released. There's 12 liveries, modular accessories, including windshield, doors, front guards, fog lamps, all the jazz. There's 169 possible lighting combinations, visible even in multiplayer sessions, right? Mad! All-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive switchable modes, climb assist mode, and, well, along. There's so many, right? Anyway, alongside the Juice Goose, Parallel 42 have included a special playground, the 42GB, the Goose Bowl scene, and it's dedicated to off-road playground packed with dunes, jumps, and beaches, specifically designed to let users go wild with the new ride. For those who want to explore the real world, the UTV features an Explorer dashboard, guiding simmers to 12 hand-picked UTV-friendly locations, and the locations were chosen by Parallel 42 to offer the best terrain for off-road fun with autopilot. That's brilliant. It's available now on the PC and Xbox, priced at $15 USD from the Parallel 42 store. It's also going to arrive on other platforms such as Contrail and indeed the Marketplace. If you previously had the Juice Goose in Flight Sim 2020, you can upgrade to the brand new version for just $2 using the code GOOSEIN24 at checkout. The upgrade is valid from the 1st February 14th until August 14th. So yeah, there's a lot of fun to this, but also I have to say, if we have time tonight, we'll definitely check it out. If not, it'll be next week. But Got Friends are working on their own driving vehicle, and it looks insane. It looks like there's going to be a lot of fun, especially in Flight Sim 24. I mean, the way the terrain is now, it's so different. 2020 was so flat and it was quite sharp, and we didn't really we didn't really notice it. I mean, we're flying, right? It's only when you get down there and you can kind of see what the terrain is doing. So this is awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's something very different. And yeah, I just want to see them kind of, drive into your plane and head her on. Over to hardware, well, Virpil have announced the R1 Falcon, brand new set of rudder pedals. Ooh, we like Virpil. Virpil Controls have announced the release of the R1 Falcon rudder pedals, an update to its existing lineup of flight sim hardware. The new pedals address user feedback from earlier models, emphasizing modularity and stability for both hobbyists and professional users. The R1 Falcon introduces a dual bar mechanism, also reinforced floor plate, designed to reduce slippage during use. A common request from users, the company's A series. Pedals also feature a symmetrical single cam system, which allows users to switch between flight profile. Example would be helicopters or fixed wing aircraft, and they can now switch over a lot more quickly than previous models. Tima, thank you very much indeed for the gifted sub to Got Friends, the absolute ledge. Thank you very much indeed. Alan Black is here, good to see you. Investigate Earth, welcome in. Do you think Flight Sim 24 will be as good as 2020 is currently? I'd like to say it's going to be better. It just needs time. Adjustability remains a focus. Pedal width, brake angle, and foot angle can now be customized to suit different cockpit setups. Resistance is controlled via a twist dial, enabling fine-tuning of the center spring tension without any tools, and that's a departure from the older design that required hex keys or Allen keys. Connectivity has also been updated with a USB out port that supports daisy chaining peripherals, and the base plate can be repositioned to either side for easier cable management. An optional hydraulic damper priced at $39.95 is available to reduce spring oscillation. The R1 Falcon, this is going to retail at $299.95 with orders opening on the week of February 24th. Customers with pending orders for the A-Series pedals will be given two options. They can proceed with their original order, which Virpil states will ship as soon as possible, or they can upgrade to the R1 Falcon, securing a place in the first production batch. It's always been a mad question, lads, but what rudder pedals do you use? I've always used the Thrustmaster TPRs. I mean, that pendular system, I just found it the most realistic based on what I've flown. But what do you guys use for rudder pedals? Do you use rudder pedals? Maybe you use like a twist grip? I don't know. Let us know. The R1 Falcon appeared to retain the core elements of Virpil's earlier designs, including an all-metal chassis and also contactless magnet sensor with very high accuracy. And the pedals were first previewed at Expo in 2024, though details were limited until this announcement. While Virpil has not disclosed specific performance comparisons to competitors like Honeycomb or Thrustmaster, well, the R1 Falcon's price point positions it within the premium segment of the flight sim hardware. Don't forget the TPRs, I think, they're the bones of about, what, $500, give or take? I think so. Scorpio is here. Good to see you. Commander Balosh, welcome in. Let me see. Crosswinds, yeah, the MFG crosswinds are really good. Really, really good. TPRs, rudder pedals are useless for Sean. Sure. Verpal, don't have rudder pedals. Verpal again. Thrustmaster, nice. TPRs. I have the T rudder since 10 years ago. Yeah, they were awesome. The what were they called? So I had a do you remember the really old ones? What were the name of them? They were the big grey ones. There was a name, CH Products, I think. That's what I started with. And then I got the Cytec ones. Thrustmaster, MFGs, Windwing, Skywalker. Yeah, the Skywalkers are cool. I wonder what they're like. Vasco has the plastic ones from Thrustmaster. They're decent. I added some rubber bands to increase the tension. Oh, nice. Scott has the TPRs. Ramos, I have the T-Flight Thrustmaster ones. Well, like, here's the thing, right? It doesn't really matter price point. I mean, if you're going from never using rudder pedals before to suddenly using rudder pedals, the cheapest of the cheap work, and they will add so much to your flying. They'll change how you fly, which is quite incredible. Because, I mean, it's not all just friggin', throttle and joystick. I mean, you throw a set of rudder pedals in there, even controlling on the ground is awesome. But like, if you're flying in the smaller aircraft and then you get into helis, they're a game changer. They really, really are. They're a game changer. I think my next upgrade will be rudder pedals, thinking about pushing the boat out for the TPRs, but these look very reasonably priced. Yeah. Like, I think the dearest pedals I've seen are either Brunner or Virtual Fly. They are supposed to be very, very good, but I think the TPRs, whilst they are expensive, I mean, they're durable. I mean, I have these 5 years. They're perfect. I have two sets of these. That's how good I think they are. But it's because they have that pendular movement. It just means your heel stays on the ground when you push a pedal forward. It's like it's what I'm used to in a plane. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, good stuff here from Verpal though, giving us more options, and they do look pretty nice, don't they? The Windwing stuff I'm interested in. I'd love to give them a shot. Now, SayIntentions, I covered this briefly the other day, but we want to shout it again. SayIntentions, they've announced a free Skynet multiplayer traffic. So basically what they're doing with this is, lads, if anyone has used something like JoinFS, what this bit of kit will allow you to do, you can fly within a multiplayer environment that's not using Microsoft servers, right? So it's using its own server for multiplayer. And anyone who's familiar with VATSIM, well, it's quite similar to what we have on VATSIM. So you connect using client to client. They supply the model matching. It's very low latency. And the idea is, well, you can fly with multiplayer aircraft. You could be on FlightSim 2020. I could be on 24. And using the software, you can see each other. Now, this isn't brand new to the world of FlightSim. As I've mentioned, JoinFS has been there for years. I mean, that'll connect you with X-Plane, P3D, even FSX. But this is updated. The JoinFS project, that kind of dwindled in around 2016, 2017, and it's been updated, but not officially. This is a standalone product, and SayIntentions are releasing this for free. This is awesome. It's a gift to the community to get everyone flying using their model matching, using their server rules. LOD is going to be better, and it's going to be just heavily optimized. Really looking forward to this, and can't wait to give it a blast. We had Margin in the chat the other day, and he was playing around with it. It's still in alpha while he was testing, but like anyone who used JoinFS, like a multiplayer aircraft, you see them hopping around the place. They're just like shaking and going friggin' nuts. This is a lot better. It's a lot better. The system functions similarly to VATSIM's multiplayer setup, offering full model matching without relying on the Microsoft Flight Sim's built-in multiplayer system. And crucially, SayIntentions confirmed that Skynet multiplayer traffic will be free for the entire Flight Sim community once it becomes fully launched. Pretty cool, right? They've also been working on advanced traffic injection and sequencing system. We have a video here we're going to show you a little bit later on what Brian was chatting about. It's just kind of cool what SayIntentions are doing. It's from an ATC perspective, yes, the use of AI voices and, move here, fly to there, but they're really dialing in, the real world stuff that happens. In particular, when it comes to you file your flight plan, you fly your flight plan, and there's no real need to worry about it changing. In the real world, your flight plan is just like, well, here's the ingredients, right? That's your canvas. It's going to change. And they're kind of honing in on that, which is going to be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. So we're bringing that update a little bit later on. We do have the video to show you. But Skynet, this will be coming soon, lads, and I think it's going to be brilliant. It's you're going to be able to see moving aircraft, independent multiplayer system.
Hello there.
That should reduce CPU and your FPS within the sim. That's what we hope. It's going to integrate with SkyOps, meaning that you can engage in cooperative activities such as group missions. Think of group firefighters and all that kind of jazz. Flamethrower in about 6.75 minutes. Welcome in, by the way. Welcome in. There's also reduced audio delay. The existing 4 to 6 second audio delay will soon be eliminated for some real-time communication. So, yeah, really looking forward to this. The early element is kind of available to partners. A beta release they hope to get out in March, and then they're aiming for a full public release in April. So let's see what happens. Let's play Train Sim with the raid. Thank you very much. Welcome in, raiders. Hope you had an awesome stream. You're most welcome aboard. And, well, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We're almost there. Right, moving on. The vote has opened, friends, for FlightSimExpo 2026. This year, of course, FlightSimExpo will be held in Providence, Rhode Island at the end of June. And, well, now we have the chance to help influence where the next FlightSimExpo is going to take place. I reckon Leitrim. But anyway, you can vote now. The focus for many, but the organisers are already thinking ahead to 2026, as North America's community-driven flight sim convention is getting feedback from the community, which is vital to the success of the show. Don't forget, last year we were in Las Vegas. The year before we were in Houston. This year we're up in, whatchamacallit? Rhode Island, right? Anyway, for 25, we'll see the expo held at the Rhode Island Convention Centre, and there's tickets are on sale, but they're selling fast. A lot of exhibitors are already there, and a few locations where 2026 could be held: Minneapolis, downtown Providence, Raleigh Convention Centre, the Rio once again in Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, or even in the St. Charles Convention Centre in St. Louis. That could be interesting. Each location has its own expected room rate and the hotel and expected host venue. So if you want to kind of have a look at it, well, you can vote. I'll give you the link here. If you want to vote on where you want Expo to be next year, lads, follow that link and see who you get on. Now, in our last bit of news before we jump over to the guys at IniBuilds, there's a VATSIM event on this weekend on Saturday, and it's a First Wings event. Basically, what VATSIM do, apart from all the different fly-ins or, F&Os or, cross the pond, all the stuff they usually do, well, they also focus on a First Wings event. This is basically giving time to new pilots, new to VATSIM, and the controllers are well versed. They're there to give you a hand, help you out, and mistakes are okay. They're not going to give out to you because it's designed for a First Wings event. This one happening on Saturday, flying in Brazil from the Fortaleza, I think, over to Salvador, departing from 1800 to 2000 Zulu. The scenic route along Brazil's beautiful northeastern coastline is perfect for new pilots to practice their skills and gain confidence. If you've never jumped onto a VATSIM event before, make sure you check out this one. Even if you want to go on observer mode, it'll just give you a chance. Do you know what I mean? So, where are we looking at now? Yes, that's it. So, but that's all we have for tonight, lads. I want to thank you all for joining us. I'm only joking. Things are going to get busy here now because I have to press loads of buttons. Loads of buttons. And let's see what we're going to do here. So I'm going to keep this on pause, and I'm going to press some buttons and see what happens. So, I'll answer the call. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Oh.
Hang on now. I'm going to press loads of buttons to make this look very fancy. So here's the first button. And I have a second button. Will this work now? Hang on a second. Yeah, we're good. Cameras? No cameras?
Did I put my camera on? Here we go.
Oh, look, it works. Brilliant. Hang on, we're pressing buttons here now. Okay, right. We'll get the audio and all that jazz sorted here now in a moment. But a massive welcome to Mike and Cameron from IniBuilds joining us here this evening. Let me see, Mike, head of production, and Cameron, the lead technical developer. The guys are with IniBuilds, and they're here to share just an update of how things are going with projects. In particular, we're all looking forward to the A350. So, well, Mike and Cameron, you're very welcome in. Happy Wednesday. And, well, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
Hey, Murphy, yeah, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll give you an insight into what we're kind of wrapping up with the A350 development and answer a few questions hopefully.
Cool. I have some
Absolutely.
B-roll now to play in the back. This is very fancy. So B-roll, right? So belt on when you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as you can see here, we're starting to look at some of the B-roll that we've shown off on some of our developer streams already. We've already kind of shown off this A&F feature here, but this is something that's nice to highlight. You know, I know it's always one of those things where you go like, well, what is it? Effectively, it's like an airport map for every major airport that you've got in the world built into the plane. And you can actually see here, you've got all the taxiways, runway numbers, all this sort of stuff, and it's pulled from a Navigraph database, and it just makes navigating around an airport so much easier. Basically, it makes it so that you can actually add little crosses and flags where you should and shouldn't taxi, things like this, and all it's all color coded in a universal way. You can see here, this is Heathrow, and it shows you all the other information across the map as well. But yeah, the A&F was super complicated to get working. I will say that.
It looks incredible, and like, you know, the images that we're looking at here, I mean, the aircraft's still very much in development. You guys flat out working on it. From these scenes, I mean, look, we can see the detail. There's even like it's not your monitor. There's dust on these screens, right? I mean, that's all after being modeled. I suppose before we kind of delve into the features, for which there are two excellent live streams there, guys. If you haven't seen them yet, well, do be sure to watch them. I'll link them in the video here now in a bit. But from your own perspective, guys, I mean, have you had any sleep over the last few weeks? I mean, I imagine, you know, as things kind of close in on the final approach, things are starting to get done. What was it like working on this project? I mean, has this, from your own experience, I mean, you might be able to tell us, share what's your background? I mean, is it sitting at the desk of a computer, or where did it all begin?
Yeah, so a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going into this project. I'll tell you that for nothing at the moment. But yeah, just to, I mean, we've Cameron and I have been on streams before and mentioned it, but our background isn't exactly sitting behind computer desks. So I'm a commercially rated 330 pilot. Before that, I was with a company called Aeroplane, so flying light twins and piston twins and turboprops. So I've got kind of a varied background in aircraft. Before joining IniBuilds as part of the production team and kind of leading those guys, fantastic team of developers and artists along the way.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. And adding on to like what Mike was saying, I'm only had a background of flying the 320 commercially, which like you say, I think it gives a good like be able to, when you're developing a product, to know, it gives you a ballpark of what is correct, what isn't correct. Of course, I fly the 320. 320 is not a 350. 330 is not a 350, but you can really get an idea of like, is this correct? Is that not correct? You get like a detector of like, no, I don't think that's right, or yes, that is. And same goes for handling and things like that. And you know, we bring that experience into the sort of development from day one, and that's what's super helpful, you know.
And tell me, what was it like then? I mean, look, you've worked on other projects before, but in particular when it came to the 350, what was it like from the very inception to where you are now? I mean, has this really pushed you? I mean, you know, have you come across challenges that were like, how are we even going to figure this one out? Or, you know, how do you even deal with that? Because you talk about modern aircraft, this thing is super modern, and there's also features being put into this product. We haven't seen it in Microsoft Flight Sim ever, do you know? So what was that like?
Yeah, so we're branding this as kind of the full airline experience, the ultimate airline experience. And you know, we've had some feedback about you know, I don't want a cabin in 24, or what's all the detail and the walk around and that kind of stuff. But that is part of the airline experience as real world commercial pilots. Yeah, you're not doing the engineering kind of day to day, but it's an awareness piece for pilots on the line. And we're really trying to kind of bring that element into the sim. You know, 2024 especially has brought a new level of detail for everyone with the walk around and stuff. So we've done a great job with that, and you know, we're just trying to push that boundary and keep things going.
Yeah, exactly. To add on to what Mike was saying, I think one of the features that I love of 24 is the walk around mode. I really, really love that, because every time you're flying, you're doing a walk around. And I really think it allows to show off a lot of these high quality details that we can add in. It makes them make sense. Like, why have a hatch, or why have a panel, or why have this if you can only see it in the showcase mode? It's kind of a bit like, okay, I get it, that's cool, but being able to walk around the plane and now open up and close these hatches, which is becoming, I would say, a mainstay of like the GA aircraft in the sim, right? But why is that not in airliners? So we're trying to add that in because it is something that you will do and will have to do.
It's mad. Like, I mean, a lot of folks would say, oh, these walkarounds, how do we skip them? But in reality, I mean, you want realism. I mean, you guys, you can't skip them,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of funny how it works, right?
It is funny. And it's one of those things where if you do skip the walkaround on the 350, you might not notice that your tire's gone bald. Because they will go bald. They will actually wear out over time, and you can actually see that my inner left is looking a bit worse than my inner right. So of course, if you don't do anything about it, it's not going to have a super detrimental effect until very late into the flight. But you can really actually have a reason to do the walk around, if you know what I mean.
There's absolutely consequence there. And like, again, it's another reason I'm looking at this add-on and I'm like, how do they manage to do this? I mean, you have, there's dirt and grime that can accumulate on the aircraft. You have things like your tires, amongst so many other things. So it is very much a living, breathing add-on that you've managed to create. And, advantages or disadvantages, I suppose. Watching the live stream, you touched on, using FlightSim 24, you had these options for building all these modules, right? I mean, you can move into another part of the aircraft. Effectively, it deletes what was already there and it injects this new one. That's got to open up a lot of doors from the fidelity now of what we can do with add-ons, right?
Yeah, so the modular aspect of 24 has been a godsend for developers, really, because literally every single element, you could go down to the kind of, well, to explain a bit more about this lodding system. Basically, it's giving you a reduced texture and polygon count in the sim without getting too technical. So you can have a really high fidelity one as you're looking up close, as you saw on the B-roll there, when you're looking up close in the cockpit, but you don't need all that level of detail in the cockpit if you're then walking down the back of the cabin, and vice versa. You don't need all the seats down the back of the cabin whilst you're at the front. So what we can do, though, is use that modular LOD system to create really, really intricate and detailed cabins. And we've got a lot of detail that's gone into these different livery configurations and cabins, which we showed off a little bit on the last live stream. But with it brings performance as well. So performance has been a real key part of our development process since we started. Pretty much, we've spent a huge amount of time trying to make it everything as performance friendly as possible, and this LOD system definitely helps, along with a few other things that we've tried.
And it really shows. I mean, it allows you to go into staggering detail. I mean, you've mentioned how kind of the mapping is done even on textures and the resolutions that you can do. I mean, it's laser scan quality. I mean, that's what we're able to see. And this is the first time I've seen that, as I said, in Flight Sim. And that's before we even look at what some of the systems are of this aircraft. And, it's one of these defining moments, right? And I'm saying this before the aircraft is actually in our hands to go flying in. But, we've seen this by other developers. IniBuilds, of course, have been there before with their add-ons. But we've seen these kind of ground-breaking moments in our hobby. A certain aircraft got released and we all just kind of sit there going, wow, how do they actually manage that? And it's great to have the tools now to enable you guys to do this stuff. But I suppose rolling it back, I mean, as certified airline pilots, I mean, there's a level of detail that you guys, it's almost it's automatic to you, right? I mean, how many times have you done a walk around of an aircraft? Probably hundreds or thousands of times. You'll spot the smallest of details, right? Is that difficult to kind of replicate into the sim? I mean, are you kind of getting lost in the grass kind of thing, saying no, it must sit at exactly this kind of angle? I mean, does the systems allow you to be that creative?
It actually does, yeah. Sorry, Cameron. So the art team have gone absolutely mad on this. We've gone to the level of detail where you can literally see the paint on the rivets peeling depending on the wear and tear.
Wow.
So you can get up close to the fuselage and literally see that happening as the aircraft life progresses. Like Karen mentioned, the ball patches on the tires, it's all there. So what we've also made, because not everyone wants to see that either, we appreciate that. So although it takes advantage of the wear and tear system in the simulator in 24, you've actually got a slider. So if you want a brand new spanking aircraft right off the line, you can have that with a selectable slider in the EFB. Where if you want to fly, a dirty one that's done a good couple hundred trips through the monsoons out in East Asia or whatever, then you can have that effect as well.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And is there anything in particular? I mean, from Mark's and Cameron's perspective, is there any one element that you're super proud of that you managed to get it in there, that it now works? Is there something that you said, yeah, this is ridiculous, and you're like entirely proud of it?
I think there's a few that like go like that, like the ANF, like we saw at the start. Like that's not brand new. Obviously, that's been seen before in the sim, but it's something that integrates beautifully in. But also, haven't shown this off yet because we were just doing the finishing touches for it. But we've now got it in the sim and got it working. We've got a full ROPS row system. I won't go too much into the details of exactly how it works, but the idea of it is it's a system that Airbus has been working on since the 90s to effectively stop people landing on inappropriate runways or running off the end of the runway. And how it works is when you're below 400 feet above the runway, it's dynamically looking where the aircraft is going to land, how much runway you've got left, and the condition code of the runway. So if you're telling the runway that it's snowy or wet and you are on a shorter runway, it's going to give you a warning, runway too short, to tell you, hey, you really can't stop. If you land and then you knock off the brakes and you just sort of think, oh, I'll roll to the end, you might be going too quick to actually physically stop, and it's going to shout at you, you need to apply max braking, you need to apply it now to actually get that aircraft stopped. And that's all dynamically being calculated in the sim. And I'll be honest, right? I will be completely honest. When we first started this project, that was the one where I was like, I don't know about that one. I was like, that one, I don't know about that one. That one might not work. But it does be, and it works well. It's one of those systems though that you've got to tune properly, if you can imagine, because you're coming to sort of a normal size airport and it's saying runway too short, and you're like, that doesn't make sense.
So it's I don't want to say it's similar. I mean, we have this runway alert awareness system already. I mean, we've seen a RAS system, right? This is very different because it's actually taking into consideration where the aircraft is and what it's doing.
Yeah, it's taken into account so a great way to like see it sort of in action is if you load up the aircraft's pretty heavy, and also on that ANF map we were talking about, part of this system also displays what it thinks the landing distance is going to be, which is very cool. And then if you have a tailwind, you're obviously going to go over that, and it will actually then recalculate based on your current tailwind that, hey, now you can't stop because you've got too much tailwind, runway too short, and you go around.
That's incredible. I see comments here in the chat. They're like, no, Kenko, he's still going to overrun it.
Well, you'll get clear and concise commands of what you need to do. That's what they've designed the Airbus to do. The 350 really is that aircraft where they've taken the philosophy over decades and decades and refined it to the point where a lot of it really makes sense now.
That's incredible. Right, no excuses now, Kenko, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So like from the B-roll we're looking, I mean, it's all outside at the moment, just at the visuals. And as you said, I mean, it's down to the rivet in detail. And even like, you know, if there's paint scratched off based on the wear and tear of the aircraft, which is, it's incredible. An aircraft like this, right? I mean, you know, as we move into the flight deck, it is super modern. It does a whole load of glass. There's a lot of screens in there. It being an Airbus, I mean, sure, you'll sit in it and you'll get an idea. Yeah, this is like an Airbus. But what about, say, a flight sim pilot who wouldn't necessarily be well up with the airliners, or perhaps, you know, they're all right with the airliners, but they're looking at this aircraft now. I mean, do we got to complete some sort of a ground school course just to be able to sit in the thing? What sort of a learning curve do you think is going to be required here?
I mean,
yeah. Oh, sorry, Mike.
It's going to say Airbus built this for like the Xbox generation anyway, as we call it, I suppose. You know, it's iPads and tablets right in front of you, like 6+ different displays with all the information at your fingertips. We've actually modeled the difference between like the touchscreen OASs and bits like that as well. But it's all very intuitive. It's all very, very Airbus. So it all makes sense. Like even down to filling out the kind of your initial pages on the flight management system. It will take you to the next box that you need to go to. It's literally stepping you through all the flight planning process. But you know, it's not a propeller aircraft. Obviously, the GA aircraft that we're used to, it is a big step up from that. But it is, like I say, Airbus, and it's flyable. But to help with that, we've got obviously the live streams, which Cameron's run through a few aspects of the aircraft. There's going to be more kind of tutorials going out as well. We've got a huge FAQ section going up on the forums, and obviously we're there on the Discord as well to answer people's questions and help run through. all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's an Airbus at the end of the day, but I would argue if it's your first airliner, let's just imagine you're going, I'm going to go straight in on the 350. I've never flown an airliner before. Honestly, it is a good airliner to start with. It's incredibly sophistication and complexity are two different things, right? The
Hmm.
aircraft is incredibly sophisticated from the point of view of its redundancies and what it can do. But if you want to just fly it from somewhere to somewhere, a lot of it makes sense because you've no longer got these little push buttons, push one left, four right. I remember being quite confused about that when first flying airliners. This is just move your mouse on it, and where you click is what it will do, which actually is more logical when you think about it. It's basically just like a computer, but in the air.
And that's
It's literally point and shoot with a fly-by-wire system as
Yeah,
well, isn't it, Cameron?
yeah,
Which
it is.
we've developed over time. So
Absolutely. It's like the fly-by-wire system really keeps it homogeneous between the families, but we've also tuned it to be what is a 350. It's not just a generic Airbus fly-by-wire, and we were able to do that with the rated pilots like Pablo we had on stream. But
Mhm.
also we were able to, when we were able to visit the sim, we were able to use that time to actually be like, right, let's really capture how does it roll, how does it pitch, how much flare does it need, all these sort of extra things that are in definite detail that we can be sure is right.
And all of that is included. I mean, you mentioned, it's a computer. I mean, there's a server room on board this aircraft. I mean, it's like a server room. I mean, you got all your racks, all the computers are in there, and that's been modded as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, you talk about a way of exploring the aircraft. Again, back on the live streams you've already shown. I mean, you've shown the crew quarters. There's more to the aircraft than just the flight deck and the cabin. I mean, you have the crew quarters. You have the detail even in the wheel wells. It's quite staggering. It's pretty mad what you've done. In relation to redundancies, I mean, we're talking about systems, right? The system itself, very sophisticated, of course. Airbus have been developing this in the real world for years and years. You guys are able to jump onto that and see the progress. What about the failures? Because you guys have put a lot of options with this aircraft as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the failure side of thing is we want to give people two sort of distinct differences. We want to give people situations and failures. We've kind of gone over a bit more that on the live stream, but to recap it,
Mhm.
is a failure is just something that I want to toggle the failure on, I want to toggle the failure off. Fair enough. Like an electrical fault, a fuel pump fault. A situation is something that may or may not have something more associated with it, like the bird strike and the depressurization and things like this. And this is something we want to evolve post-release. We want to add more in, that it's not just a failure. It's something that might happen to the aircraft. It's going to damage the cowling. It's going to damage the radome. You're going to hear extra noises. It's going to be something you're going to have to deal with extra. So it incorporates those systems and failures together with the actual 3D and art of the aircraft.
And those situations as well, again, it comes into kind of the airline experience and the airline pilot experience. So every 6 months, Cameron and I are in the simulator for real, running through these types of situations to test your crew resource management, your systems knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So we're just trying to bring that level of detail to the enthusiast as well.
It's incredible. It really is. And like, I'm staggered by the detail, the feature lists, the sheer scale of the entire project. And however long you guys have been working on this and however close, I mean, we know IniBuilds they're aiming to have this released by the end of the month. I think they were aiming at kind of the last week in February. They were hoping. It's a project and a half. Like, what happens after a release? Does that mean, right, lads, well done, you can go home now, go to sleep? Or is that when you kind of kick it up another gear because you're watching for feedback, right? I mean, through your own extensive testing and that of the team, logic would only suggest once it gets released to the masses, things could be found. So is that kind of like a heightened time for surveillance that you're saying, okay, if there's any issues, or in a lot of times folks have, we might report issues that are technically features. So kind of what does the first kind of week or couple of weeks after release kind of look like?
So there's a lot of management on the community side, obviously looking out for that feedback and like you say, looking out for the bugs, but also the intricacies in the system. Like you say, it's a complex aircraft, and we're there to support the user to work out those issues. Some of them will be bugs, obviously, but we've done it's been in testing for a long time. Like there's been progressive testing on various systems. We're obviously in final testing for release candidates at the moment, but there's a lot of testing gone into it. But Cameron, maybe you can talk a bit more about kind of the plan for post-release.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're also taking a view of reminding people as well that the package that they buy is the 900, the 1000, and the ULR. Now, the ULR is not available at release, but we're also keeping an eye on like, right, we're going to do this ULR update, which is going to be a significant update, including another variant and other things that we're looking at. You know, more failures, more situations, even more things like that are being packaged together. You can say, okay, which of these things that people have fed back to us are things that we can maybe fix right now, or maybe things that need addressing, you know, today or tomorrow. Might be nothing, could be, or it could be something that, you know, like you say, is something that's cropped up, or something that can be like, right, let's take that feature suggestion and move that into the ULR, so because it's going to be part of that longer term development. That's effectively how I see the post release plan going.
Like, it is an important note to make, because look, anyone buying an add-on in a flight sim, it's comforting knowing that the development team, they expect feedback, right? And the fact that you guys are already versed on, you know, we're going to be watching it and we're going to help people through it. Hopefully that instills a lot of confidence with prospective new customers for the aircraft, knowing that, you know, it's a general lease. If there's issues, we'll work on the issues. But of course, you've already mentioned then a roadmap. I mean, the ultra long range, what's the range on that? Like, isn't that like multiple thousands of miles?
It's crazy. Like, they're the ones that the Project Sunrise flights are done with, which I think are the longest flights in the world, which are like 18 hours, I want to say.
Wow.
Really, really, really long. The ULR is effectively the 900 ULR. I saw someone in chat saying, is it the 1000 ULR? The 1000 ULR doesn't exist yet. So that would be something that we address at a later date. So it's the 900 ULR is the only ULR variant that's available right now to actually fly on, and that's what it would be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay, so the systems, it has multiple systems. I mean, anything from the navigation that we saw there, you have all these, there's stuff we haven't experienced in a flight sim before. And of course, you're going to have your creature comforts that we're kind of used to when it comes to IniBuilds aircraft, kind of tablet implementation. What about flying the aircraft? I mean, does this fly like anything you've experienced in the flight sim space before, or this is quite unique? Like, where does flying an A350 currently sit? I mean, is it similar to that of an A380 or a 777? Is it kind of in that ballpark, or is this very, very different?
It's a good question. I would say it feels very different because so if you look at I'm just going to focus on like sort of Airbus. If you look at Airbus, you've got, I would say, 3 generations. You've got the A300 and the original classic generation. Then you've got the 320, 330, 340. And then they kickstarted that next generation with the 380. And the 350 is the pinnacle of that generation of modern times. So we're effectively jumping from, let's say, a 330 straight to the 350. It's a huge jump. We're going from the 80s/90s to the mid 2010s sort of level of technology, because we're not doing like a launch model 350, we're doing one with relatively modern software as well, and it feels like a totally different experience. You've got your chart up on one screen, you can move it to your middle screen, you've got your brake to vacate selected, you've got your ROPS row that you know is armed, you've got huge screens, you've got a vertical display, you've got a lot of stuff like this. Of course, loads of those things are available in 777 and Boeing, sort of elements of, but the physical aircraft itself, where everything is combined together, I find it to be quite a different experience, to be honest.
It's all the creature comforts that you kind of want as a pilot, and getting that in the simulator as well. It is another experience. Like Cameron and I, and most of the development team, don't spend a lot of time actually getting to fly aircraft anymore, which is like a bit of a shame. Like, we're always testing something, but even our CEO Ubaid, he's had great fun kind of getting back into this and flying with us all, and it's just nice to fly. Like, we enjoy flying it. It's actually fun to fly again, isn't it?
It's genuinely a really nice aircraft to fly, and also to hand fly. It's quite a different aircraft to hand fly, because this is one thing to touch on that I always find kind of interesting. From a general conception, I would say the flight sim community is big equals heavy, small equals light. This couldn't be further from the truth. It's almost irrelevant when it comes to airliners because you've got hydraulics and you've got fly-by-wire. It can be as heavy or as light as you want it to be. So funnily enough, the 350 is one of the lightest of the whole Airbus family to hand fly. Much less than, say, much less than the 330, like monstrously less than the 330, way less than the A300, which of course isn't fly-by-wire at all, but even less than the 320neo. The flare that you need is almost nothing. And that's just down to choices made by Airbus in the design of the aircraft, which is cool. You know, it's something different.
Like a project like this, right? I mean, when it comes to research that's needed, you know, both of you are bringing real world experience, you know, with the airliner side coming into this. What's a project like this like? I mean, I imagine access to these aircraft. Well, they're so modern, they're so new. Like, what sort of detail does one have to delve to say, yeah, no, we're comfortable, you know, with the simulation of where this is at, or is it like going down the rabbit hole? I mean, you look at, okay, a simple thing like tire wear, you know, there's more than one way if like a tire can wear. How was that whole experience for you guys, as you know, from the pilot's cap on one side and then into developing and into looking at this system? I mean, has this really pushed everything you've done before? And as IniBuilds, I mean, is this kind of like, this is a new direction almost for IniBuilds, because as you mentioned, the airliner experience, but the levels of detail that we're seeing with this and the complexities, and yet you've mentioned it's quite sophisticated. How did it all kind of come together?
So it probably kind of starts on the art side. Honestly, you can't put any systems really together until you've got something to put it into, yeah, even in the simulator. So there's like literally thousands of hours of research going into looking at photos online, finding real world references. You know, if we can get up close to an aircraft, taking those kind of photos and scans as well, if available, and then putting that all into a 3D model. Then that's all tested for accuracy with our art team, and then it gets textured, and like you say, the level of detail in the texturing right down to the single rivets, which are all animated as well. It's an insane amount of detail, and like I couldn't give you an exact number, but it's literally thousands and thousands of hours of people's time and work and effort gone into it to make sure it's as accurate as possible.
Yeah, it really is. It's got to be tens of thousands of man hours, and
Yeah.
that's a low number.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very low number, because we are a fairly large team working on this. And when you think, oh, they work on it for X amount of time, yes, but your 1 year of our development cycle could be the same just due to the size of the team as someone else's 3-year development cycle. You know, we're doing a lot of stuff on multiple streams that all come together at the end. You know, that's why you've got the art doing that. You've got different coders doing different elements. Like I mentioned, that ROPS row, that was done by a certain code and it was integrated at the end, and then we test it and it works. So it's not just one person working through things one at a time. It's a huge process that has to be orchestrated just right, or it goes very wrong, which it isn't, and it has gone really, really well.
Yeah. So like on the back end systems alone, you've got a team working on kind of the ECAMs and the failure management. You've got a particular team on the EFB. You've got someone handling all the flight. Well, Cameron obviously handles the flight mechanics, but then he kind of feeds into our lead systems dev, which does all the fly-by-wire systems and the vertical navigation and all that kind of stuff. So, and same on the art side. So we've got a dedicated cabin team that's purely done the cabin and textures for that. We've got a couple of people working on the exterior alone. It's all kind of split into different streams that, will, like I say, all come together in a big effort at the end.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Huge effort.
It's a huge effort. Now, what we'll do, if we don't mind, we might take a couple of questions from some folks in the chat. We'll answer them as best we can, lads. Bearing in mind, you know, it's not out yet, and the guys are still actively working on it. So, if you have any questions, do start throwing them in, and we'll pick out a few. Question there from Gibbo, and he just asked, in lieu of everything going on with the sim at the moment, right? So we can see there's some challenges with 2024 right now before the sim update. Could any tell us about QA processes? I mean, you know, we know that you have a huge development team working on this. We know you're standing by after release to address any issues. When it comes to, I suppose, the QA on this, could it be the case that everything works fine on your side? You know, is this going to demand bigger, stronger machines? What's the level of optimization? Like, how do you deal with that? Because that's got to be a huge challenge, right?
Yeah. So
yeah. Also,
go on, Cameron. You start. Go on.
All right. We'll tag team. It's like no, it's one of those things. Like I'll go through the sort of the optimization side of stuff because it's something we were involved with as well. That we know that if you want this super high level of cabin, super high level of detail, everything that some people aren't going to want that slash won't be in the region where they want to run that with their system. That's fine. Now in 2024, we're offering presets, so you can actually have one with no cabin and no avionics bay. And if you want to, if you bought it from the i9 manager, you can have a reduced level of textures. Now, even with the reduced level of textures, it's looking very, very, very nice. And even without the cabin, you still have wing views, you still have galleys. We're giving people that flexibility. So we're kind of, like you said, it's a challenge to know, will this run on everybody's system in the world? But if you give people the options to customize it to what their system is, to pick the experience that they want, I think that's the best approach that we've taken. And as we mentioned with 2020, there are some limitations, such as the cabin, because of that LOD system, modular system that we talked about earlier, that let's say we could just say, no, it's okay, we'll put it in. So, and if you've got like the world's best computer, you can run it on 2020. You're not even going to have a good experience with that because that was just not built for that environment. So that's why we had to make that choice for 2020 specifically, to take that choice away from you, but you have that in 2024.
And it's a key feature of the product as well. Like you can literally choose everything you want on this. You can choose the exterior options. You can choose long winglets. You can choose short winglets. You can choose if you've got brake fans or not. The livery configurator tool that we've got coming out. So every livery will have a specific configuration, both interior and exterior. The sound levels, you can customize all the sound levels you want with multiple sound buses. Like the cabin outfit, if you don't want the cabin, you don't have to have the cabin. It's all about user choice predominantly.
It's great. It's great thinking. Like, and I even remember about the brake fans. I mean, it's the level of detail goes into. I think Cameron, you were saying it's they make a whoosh sound. I'm dying to hear this whoosh
that's
sound.
Right, yeah, they make a whoosh, not a whir, which is different, right? Because I do love the fact that on the 350 you can see it's, like I say, it's many decades of Airbus going, let's not do that. Let's keep doing that, but not that one. That one was annoying. Let's make that better. Let's make the checklist more integrated. Let's make the brake fans quieter. That was annoying. Let's give it more redundancy. There's lots and lots of those things that, and in the sim, this is reflected in like this sort of environment where you just fly it and you go like, man, this is great. Like they've really thought about everything.
It's awesome. Another question.
They're more efficient on the 350 as well. Sorry, Murph. Like the brake fans. On the 330 were kind of just dead weight effectively. Like nobody really opted for them, but the 350 they're more popular.
Wow. And you can see them. Look, they're visually modeled. They have the sounds in there, and they're an option as well if you want them or you don't want them. So Kenko will definitely have them. Come here. The screens. There's a question there. Can we pop out those screens? The way you can do the alt click a screen. Is that a capability with this? But all the screens you have going here, or is that implemented?
You can. Yeah, you can click them out, but remember that these have like a mouse interaction cursor. If you've popped the screen out, your mouse won't work in that screen. That is kind of a limitation of how the sim works in terms of like where it's looking for your mouse. But you can pop the screens out and put them in different windows if you want to. On all of them, I believe that's true. Even the EFB.
It's a bit of a workaround to get that mouse kind of function working, so it's kind of like Cam said, a limitation.
Yeah. I see the same question over and over again. They want to know about the jacks, the flushing toilets. We can probably leave that as a teaser. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's the most important question, right?
The most advanced, sophisticated aircraft. Does the toilet work though? Come on, does it flush?
I'm going to leave everyone to buy the product.
Yeah,
very
in suspense. In suspense.
Yeah, that is the moment of suspense. You'll have to get in there and go in the toilet and say, like, did they lie to us? Did they not? I don't know. Find out as soon as.
Brilliant. Some questions there, and I'm not quite sure myself, but we'll ask it. Does it have an automatic vision-based takeoff? Is there, from the autopilot implementations, is there anything new here for pilots to say, oh, hang on, it can do that? Or is it what we would expect from like an Airbus autopilot system?
The vision-based takeoff, from what I understand, has been demonstrated by Airbus on a test aircraft, but it's not certified. It's not certified for takeoff. It's so like no line aircraft in the world has that fitted. Same with the automatic taxi in, because it's for 0-0 capability, like 0 meters visibility, 0 feet touchdown. So no, it wouldn't have that, because no aircraft in the world other than the ones in Toulouse will have that. But there are some features that you definitely will never have seen in an Airbus before, which is automatic emergency descent. So we've demonstrated that on the stream, where if you get depressurized, the aircraft will totally turn itself off the airway, automatically descend, automatically put the speed brakes out. If you have a dual engine failure, the APU automatically starts. You can re-engage the autopilot and it will still work with no engines.
Wow.
So you've effectively got no hydraulics at that point, but you're actually using these hydraulic backup actuators that will function, and that's modeled in the sim. So you can follow the full procedure for a dual engine flame out. You turn the engines off yourself, windmill relighting. You can do APU starting in the air. There is a lot of redundancy built into the aircraft that if you really lose your autopilot, like it doesn't work anymore, you are having a seriously bad day. Like, I mean, seriously, like worse than having no engines sort of day. That's bad. It's
wow. It's the excitement levels from everyone just to get their hands on this aircraft. I mean, it's up there, right? I mean, it's in terms of, you know, an A350, there are limited options. I think the only other one even to mention is it's on a different sim, right? It's over an X-Plane. So to see an A350 coming into Microsoft Flight Sim, that in itself is incredible, but the level of detail you've managed to cram into this, and I mentioned this earlier, but like, you know, when you look at a particular system, especially from the live streams you've already done, I mean, you could be looking at this screen here and you say, okay, look, I'm going to talk about, you know, the two screens that we have. We're going to look at one of the backup instruments, and then you'll kind of move on, right? But there's way more happening here. I mean, there could be 10 or 12 other features baked into this one particular area of the aircraft that there just isn't enough time to kind of go talking and explaining about it all. Like, from a user perspective, is like, where's the limit? Where do you stop? Like, can you sit back and say, right, we've done enough now that no one's going to press that button, so we're just not going to bother? Like, it's incredible the detail you've got into.
Yeah, you can probably answer the question about the number of buses and stuff on the elect system camera.
There's 81 or 84, I don't remember exactly now, electrical buses simulated. Now, it's quite funny, right? And that someone told me this once during training, and it's, again, I only insult myself as a pilot. They say that when you open up the Elec AC page, it's the Fisher-Price version of what the aircraft is actually doing. Because you look at it and you're like, oh, that's complicated. It's got like 4 AC buses and this, that, and that. And it's like, no, it hasn't. It's actually got 80.
Wow.
And of course, it's a step up for us to simulate all of those, but it gives multiple levels of advantage. As you were talking about, like when I was doing those system streams, I mean, I can talk forever regardless, but I could literally talk about the electrical system for a few hours.
Wow.
There is so much complexity in there. It's also a slightly different version than the 380 has. Airbus kind of went in a slightly different direction with it, and that's kind of interesting because they need more redundancy because more things are electric and things like this, and like everything is on its own correct bus and things can fail. Even things like this, right? When you power up the aircraft, you've got 4 batteries, right? You've got the emergency battery and the normal battery. When you're turning each of those on, you're not just turning the batteries on, you're turning on that battery that powers the things on that emergency bus. That's the level that we've gone to.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's like, it's from where, like, the idea of just hopping in and going for a simple flight from A to B, forget it. I mean, anyone who really wants to sink their teeth into, you know, a fully fledged simulation, I mean, it's all here. You know, and you can customize it. I was staggered by the level of customization that you're giving us to mess around with the plane. And that's not just from the failures or whatever. I mean, it's from, as you say, you know, the sharpness on the wings. It could be down to simple things like brake fans, the 900 and the 1000, and of course the ultra long range. I mean, is there going to be more planned? Is this aircraft used as a freighter configuration in the real world yet? I doubt it because it's so new, right?
I know that the freight is quite different, actually. The freight is actually not a 900 or 1000. It's a different length, and it's not in the real world. Am I right in saying that, Mike, that it's not out yet?
It's not,
in
no.
testing. No. And they've delayed it yesterday, I believe, even further, because it's quite different. I know that sounds silly because you're like, oh, it's just a freighter version. There's a fair few things that they have to change for it, fuselage length, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's not like a P2F, like a passenger to freight conversion. It's a dedicated freighter that they're kind of designing. So.
And I suppose then the last thing is the creature comforts, right? I mean, we're looking at this aircraft. Well, I'm scratching my head going, how am I going to manage this? But the creature comforts, be it with, integration with systems like SimBrief, Navigraph, GSX, is that kind of the normal array that you guys are focusing from day one? Or is there features there that might have to wait until after the release?
No, so Navigraph, is all fully integrated with downloadable navigation databases. The ANF actually runs off and requires a Navigraph subscription, but there'll be a post going out shortly about what's needed, there. It's also got Hoppy integration for CPLC, and which one was it we just added, Cameron? I can't remember which one it was. There's another CPLC integration that we've added.
Oh, it's SayIntentions.
SayIntentions.
I don't want to say that wrong. Mind the pun.
I think it's SayIntentions. I can't remember. But yeah, so we've added that one in as well. So yeah, they all come as standard now with us. So expect them all pretty much from day one. The GSX as well, so that's fully integrated into the EFB. So you've got automatic progressive loading now via the EFB, which is a big one for the VR users as well.
Yeah, and like speaking of integration of stuff, Ubaid mentioned it on the stream before. We want to give people a package where it's like, oh, I need to wait for that. No, you've got your SimBrief, you've got your Hoppies, you've got your CPLC from day one. You've got GSX integrated. You've got an effects package that could be considered something that you would pay for, and also you've got a sound pack that we're really proud of that really represents the aircraft, and that's all from day one. So it's not a case of getting something and having to wait for something else. It should be, you should pay for what you get, and it should be to that level of the rest of the aircraft, which is what we've tried to aim for.
Nice. That's awesome. Lads, it's terribly exciting. We know the aircraft is on final approach to release. Hopefully there's a bit of R&R coming for you soon, because I can only imagine the work that's gone into this and the entire team behind you. It's staggering to see what's now possible in a consumer level flight sim. I mean, stuff like this, you'd be thinking, okay, the visuals, sure. I mean, we're almost at the stage now where we expect these next gen visuals, but depths of simulation of systems and failures, and it's quite staggering to see kind of what the future looks like, and IniBuilds absolutely leading the charge with that. Release time, nothing concrete yet. We do know it's the last week or so in February, and its primary platforms, of course, going to be on FlightSim 2020 and 2024. I'm unsure, did anyone mention Xbox? I mean, is there a plan somewhere on the roadmap for Xbox?
It's in testing on Xbox now.
Sweet. So fingers crossed all goes well. But to both Mark and Cameron, gents, I have to thank you so very much for taking time out of your schedule. You've been very kind sharing all this information. We're all like, just release it now. Go on, it'll be grand, sure. We'll be all right. But seriously, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us here tonight. And I wish you the very best of luck. You don't need it. It's going to be a roaring success when this releases. So thank you very much indeed to yourselves, and of course everyone at IniBuilds for giving us this insight and building the hype for sure.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Murph. It's been great.
Thanks very much. It's a pleasure.
Sweet. All righty, so I'll press a button over here. This is where editing comes in. It's just terrible bad, but it's grand, right? It's all part of the editing process. And I'll press the button. All right, lads. Jesus, I'll have buttons for all of this stuff, lads. Man alive, isn't it unbelievable? And like, there are sounds in the bit of B-roll that IniBuilds sent. They're still working on the aircraft, lads, right? I mean, that's effectively where it's at. Hopefully that was a good insight. The questions that we have, in particular, performance, how's it going to be behaving? What's the roadmap, or what does the world look like after you buy this? I mean, is it going to be impossible to fly? Or are you going to be relatively, I'm okay, I'll figure it out? You should be fairly okay. It's only when you want to delve into the systems that's where this thing will absolutely start flexing its muscles, because it's mad. If you haven't seen the 2 streams already released by IniBuilds, where Cameron really dives into some of the features, highly recommend you go check them out, lads. I think this is going to be one of those kind of landmark releases for the sim, and I've I don't think I've ever been as excited for an airliner in the sim. For me, I mean, usually it's like, yeah, they're nice and all, but like this thing, it just has features that it's taken the sim in a new direction. So wishing IniBuilds the very best of luck for release. I imagine it'll be busy. I want to thank everyone for coming in. If you are new here, really appreciate you joining in. I hope you found this helpful. And our show continues on now. We've other bits and bobs for our weekly Flight Sim News channel. And we try and chat with developers, get updates on the products and what they're working on. And yeah, it's always busy here on a Wednesday. But before you all start running, have to ask, right, what feature are you most looking forward to with the release of this aircraft? And another question, while you're answering that, if you are a general aviation fan or a chopper pilot, not really interested in, the airliners, is this going to change your mind? Or if you're Boeing, you're not going, are you now looking at this saying, right? Do you know what I mean? Finding out if the jacks flushes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. We need to find out. Grizzle is here. Good to see you, mate. He says the flap sounds, I'm constantly lowering and raising them. Right? How did the flap sound? Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, interesting stuff. Situations bring a whole new level to flight sim, says Max Lightweight. Indeed. And the failure-based system, and I mean, look at the screens here, lads. It's stunning. The artwork into this aircraft is incredible. Bjorn is most looking forward to the Dylids. Eddie, we need to add flap failure simulation. Nice. You're really not good with the L names, are you, Murph? What did I say now? Did I say something terrible? I probably did. You know what I'm like. Soup Guy, can't wait. Unbelievable. Probably more to do on the ground, let alone taking it into the air, says Anthony. Yep. Calix says, can't wait to be Saturday there just going toga, or can't wait to be sat there going toga every 5 seconds, then back to idle. Yeah, right. Aviation Lucas says, the price of it? Yeah, the Autoland, because Dougal can't fly for right? Practically Geek says, absolutely, just started to get into airliners and this would be amazing. Nice. Is it the 2-to-1 show? Mr. Chippy, it's shag off. Two-tone Murph. Just call me Murph, or your man behind the bushes. That works as well. Caleb is here as well. Good to see you. Mohammed says, I'm sure the aircraft will be amazing and I wish to have a good flight. Yeah. Flight from Jeddah. That'd be nice. Where are you going to take it for your first spin, lads? You know what I mean? Have they announced prices? They have, James. They have. Toilet seat flap emulation. Yeah, sure, they'll do that. It's mad. Mauritius, that's a flight and a half. What would be the price? So we have more information over here. And where's my buttons here now? So over on the IniBuilds website, so there's already a developer Q&A. And the variants... Oh, here's sounds, lads. Listen to this. Yep. We're going to need a moment. The sounds are insane. But anyway, before I was interrupted by myself. On release, we're going to have the A350 900 Trent XWB-84 and the A350 1000 Trent 97. We have custom data for the EGT, fuel flow for all phases of flight, N1 values for all phases of flight, and also the throttle percentage. The ultra long range is going to be a variant release for free post-release. And it's a small change to the landing gear. It can take on extra fuel in the tanks, and the landing gear indeed is stronger. Will it have the FLS landing system? Yes, it will be fitted with an FLS, as modern family aircraft only use the XLS concept for the final approach, not being used anymore. Will the A350 have the original OIS with the same functionalities, or will it be something fictional? The OIS will be something made by IniBuilds, but done in the style and format of the real A350 OIS. The system allows integration of simulation features while also keeping the original look from the A350. We'd be aiming to simulate a set version to suit data we have access to. Sweet. Is it going to come with a HUD? So I saw there was a question there, someone asking about the HUD. For the A350 family, the HUD is quite a rare option. At this time, we're not looking at implementing a heads-up display, so not at the moment. What kind of system depth will you go for with the 350, and will it include secondary flight plan and pilot waypoints for the FMS MACD? They intend to replicate close to all the MACD functions of the A350, including the SEC flight plan and, if possible, the SEC flight plan 2 and 3, along with pilot waypoints on the ND and via the cursor mode. Jesus. Will it have the heading control function? This feature will be present in the aircraft. So the A350 is going to have HCF, and it's a great feature that makes taxiing a whole lot easier. So yes, it has that in it, lads. And question here, can I ask if the A350 will come delivered with the ability to do auto step climbs during accelerated simulations? IniBuilds intend to support auto step climbs and accelerated simulation. At this time, we can't give you a hard value to what level of acceleration will be supported, as it can depend on how the final autopilot and auto flight systems react. So HCF, that's to do with the heading control function. Will the bogey movement of the A350's landing gear be animated? So the bogey, right, think of that as the chassis where the wheels sit. Depending on the variant, you can have, I think it's a 3-axle or a 2-axle bogey. Like, that's the level of detail they've gone into here. It's pretty mad, you know. Lastly, will there be an option for toggling SATCOM on or off for even greater visual accuracy? And the answer is yes, the feature will be present in the aircraft. So, is GPS jamming spoofing going to be simulated? It's a common thing pilots deal with on a daily basis, especially over Turkey, Iraq and Kuwait, places particularly frequently visited by wide-body aircraft. IniBuilds are saying they want to try and simulate challenges line pilots come across day to day. We will have a system to allow this level of challenge to be scaled for each users. Right? Pretty cool. Will the product have CPDLC and Hoppy? They intend to have full CPDLC integration using Hoppy. CPDLC in an A350, it's also integrated directly into the aircraft, not a separated DCDU like what you have on the A320 family. We also intend to have a fully simulated ACARS system. So there's a lot of stuff going into this. This is their development Q&A, lads. If you want to have a look at it, they're going to be updating this. The link has gone in there in the chat. And on the subject, of course, of IniBuilds and what they're doing, well, they have their global gateways sale on at the moment, and this is all in preparation for the launch of the A350. And some of these airports, as you can have imagined, are savage, right? The price point, yes, according to the aircraft, I think it's well, we'll double check it here. I think they're aiming at around 60 pounds plus taxes. We'll find it here somewhere. Hang on. It's in here somewhere. We'll find it there in a minute. But anyway, Dubai, this was just recently updated. Detroit, I mean, you can pick these up at, most of them are half price, right? London Heathrow is in there. Zayed has gone in. Brisbane, Dubai, JFK, Johannesburg, LA, Honolulu, and Nairobi as well. There's an absolute, like, that's enough flying to keep anyone busy. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. So let me see. In terms of a update, we'll jump over to FS Elite here. So let me see. The official video from IniBuilds, full quality now live on YouTube. I'll give you a link to this article here, lads, because that's going to give you a link to where they did their previous streams. And like, as I said, like you need to watch them. Put on a cuppa and just watch them and what they're doing, right? But anyway, during the live stream, Ubaid, Matt, Cameron, and Mike all took turns showcasing more of the aircraft. And when it comes down to here, where is this now? A350 coming soon. Where is this with the release date and the price? It could be just staring at me here in the face. Is it in the video or did they just, I thought they said it. Platforms that be sold on are in-house IniBuild. I think it's just going to be through the IniBuilds for the moment. It's lower down, $59.99. Is that what you're seeing? Here we go. Towards the end of the stream, IniBuilds revealed they aim to release the A350 in the final week of the month. That's next week, lads. At a price of £59.99, excluding taxes. That's going to include 2 variants of the aircraft, both the 900 and the 100, with the ULR being a free update planned a little bit further down the road. So a £60 add-on, excluding your taxes, and due to release. They're aiming to release this next week, because we then run out of February, don't we? Yeah, we do. So it's got to be there next week, unless, of course, they found any issues. You know what I mean? £72 in the UK, that's with tax. Right, sweet. Yeah, it's a pretty good price. Lads, I'm so very excited for this aircraft. As I said, it's looking at the live streams that they did, the detailing. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff, but like, it is absolutely staggering. And the level of detail they've gone into. We'll play this for a second. Just have a listen to what the lads are saying.
24, it was more applicable that because the lighting engine is a fair bit more advanced than any of the sim we've seen before. If you have duplicate lights sitting over the top of each other, it's not just like having double the amount of lights. It's like having 4 times the amount of lights, and that's really not going to be okay for performance. So that's why we've chosen to go down this sort of route of having an optimized balance view for performance as well.
And again, for those complaining about performance, you don't need to fly with a cabin if you don't want to. You know, it's very clear that you can have a version with no cabin. We'll have lots of different liveries, obviously, on day one. And what those liveries will have custom cabins, custom cabin colors. Now, some of these that you will see are work in progress, and these liveries will have certain details throughout that obviously signify the airline. Now, obviously, the business class seat may not match the exact configuration the operator uses in real life, but we'll try and add as many details as we can to make it as similar to the operator as possible. The first was Singapore Airlines, Qatar. Some of these are still work in progress, but we'll hopefully get as many of them as ready for day one, and if not, we'll continue adding them.
As default in the default aircraft anyway, you'll get lots of different kind of hotspot options as part of the OIS AFB, so the radome, the vent extract fans and all that kind of stuff. We've obviously had a lot of requests about paint kits now already. And what you can actually do is there's a livery configuration tool where you can predefine these and lock these into the livery. So if you know a particular airline or livery has wing cams, for example, taxi cams, then you can lock that into the livery. Same with these taxi lights and stuff that are swapping over now. So that will all be available on day one or very shortly after.
And the liveries that will come from IniBuilds will have that livery configurator set. If you're a livery painter and you do make a livery, you will have to use that configurator, and it might not work great from day one. We'll work with you guys on that, and hopefully your liveries can also be configured in the way that you wish, because there are lots of options that can be set.
So like we looked at it in the last stream about time acceleration, auto step climbs, things like that. We showed off that you can have 2 and 4x speed. Now that works well with in terms of the systems build together. So if you're going 4x speed, it will burn 4x times amount of fuel, and it's auto system. So when you have it selected automatically, if the performance dips below sort of a minimum level, it will drop itself down to 2 times. And if you're in the polar region, it'll actually also drop itself down to 2 times speed, because if you think about it, from the flight plan's perspective, the globe's kind of starting to spin, so it has to slow down and then it'll speed back up again. So you can do like an overnight polar ops, but you'll see it slow down, speed up, and then come back, and it will pause at the top of descent. You can have distance between the top of descent that you need to go as well. So just a lot of customized optionalities that give you that ability to do ultra long hauls, which is what this aircraft can do. You know, it's absolutely crazy that you can do, if you're empty, you can do like about a 19-hour flight in the 350, which is really outrageous.
And I think this feature again will be on 2020, 2024 and Xbox.
Quite realistic with most kind of European Middle East operators experiencing this nowadays. Again, it's just kind of set up as a basic implementation for now, where you can kind of over your cruise period then start tracking random failures at you based on navigation systems and stuff like that. And they'll remain with you again until the end of the flight. You can reset this one, but it will take you through. You'll lose things like BTV and bits like that. If you guys like the feature, to expand it a bit more and give you complete randomization on it, and also make it geo specific as well, geolocation specific. So, for example, flying around the edges of Ukraine and that kind of area at the moment will increase your
Imagine that thing shouting at you the whole way.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to that as well.
So anyway, look, this video is available. It's on that link there that I put in the chat, lads, if you want to check it out. Also, if I called Mike Mark, because I think it was saying, Murphy, you're such a muppet. Sorry, Mike. But sure, listen, that's how Mike sounds in Ireland. It sounds like Mark. Oh, bother. Anyway, lads, moving on. Bloody hell, all sorts of trouble. So loads of stuff there from IniBuilds, and as I said, hopefully you found all that very helpful. Now what we're going to do, we're going to move over here, news coming in from SayIntentions, right? Now, with SayIntentions, of course, we know that they've launched SkyOps, right? And, well, SkyOps is, I don't know if anyone has, maybe you haven't seen what SkyOps is, but basically SkyOps, it's a mission-based system, right? And now I fixed my screens. It's a mission-based system where basically once you have SayIntentions loaded in, yeah, Mark is the Irish mic, yeah. I had to have my mods chat closed because it's not important. It is important, but it's grand. I'll figure that out. I need more screens. That's what's wrong. But anyway, what you can do with SkyOps, you open SayIntentions, you tune to a specific radio frequency, and SkyOps can give you missions. And these can range from, you know, search and rescue, firefighting, VIP transport, all from within an open free flight, which is something you can't do natively in the sim. SayIntentions can do it, right? So the airport you start from can determine the type of mission that you'll get. If you're off the coast of Florida in the summertime and request search and rescue, you'll likely get a water rescue. If you're in the middle of Montana wilderness in the winter, well, you might get a missing snow mobiler. Anyway, you can fly from any airport anywhere in the world. Right now, there are 7 types of mission supported. Search and rescue, applicable if you're in a helicopter. Search only, applicable if you're in fixed wing. VIP, cargo, air ambulance, firefighting, and even aircraft ferrying. The dispatcher will automatically assign you a mission appropriate to your aircraft if you don't specify it. But we'll start with our most important mission, search and rescue, just below to understand how it works. All right. So when you fly a mission, you get your crew, go to settings, intercom, select SkyOps crew, then you have a few to choose from, and they're going to be adding more. Make sure you've mapped a button as your intercom push to talk. Pick up a mission by tuning your radio to 122.11. That's the SkyOps operations dispatcher. Tell them that you'd like to pick up a new mission. You can be more specific if you want to say, hey, I need a cargo mission within 100 miles. For now, it could take up to about 30 seconds for SayIntentions to generate it, but it is getting faster. Note that tuning to 122.11 requires you to set your comm radios for the 8.33 kilohertz spacing. All right. Now, the information given for search and rescue, heading, distance, lat long, and program your GPS with these target coordinates. There's still a search in search and rescue. These coordinates will get you within about 3 miles of the incident site. From there, you're on your own. For other missions, they'll give you the destination airport, and you get to figure out how you're going to get there. All right. For search and rescue, if applicable, you should also note the hospital you are going to, if transport is necessary, have Google Maps handy. This may not be on Navigraph on your EFB. However, in Flight Sim 24, pretty much most helipads are already there. You need to wait for your crew to board. That'll happen automatically. You fly the mission. If it's search and rescue, you look for any signs of the incident by looking for smoke or flares. And, you know, you can shout, hey, get them to launch flares. Yeah. If you're just doing search, you'll still need to do 2 things to complete your mission. Radio back the exact location, the lat-long coordinates of the incident, to the SkyOps dispatcher, or let them know to use your GPS position. And then secondly, land the aircraft and radio dispatch to tell them that you're done. Your mission is now complete. If you're equipped for a rescue flight, i.e. you're in a helicopter, don't land and don't tell the dispatch you're done. You found the site, but now you've got work to do. Decide of what kind of rescue the situation requires. You can land right at the site or take a short distance and let your crew hike up to them, and so on and so forth. This is all a feature now within SayIntentions. And as I said, I don't know if you've seen this before, lads. It is quite incredible. And it works in VR as well. It's awesome, right? And I've used it a couple of times. I saw Kando last night. He was doing firefighting missions with it. And it puts the fires into your sim. This will inject objects into your sim in Flight Sim 24. It's friggin' nuts, right? But anyway, I was looking at other stuff here then. Some of the features that SayIntentions are also working on, and there is a video here. It's about 6 minutes, but I want to show you. VR, yeah, or VR, yeah. Have a look at this because it's a feature announcement. They're using predictive AI for authentic arrivals and departures, right? So we'll have a now listen to Brian here and he'll explain what it is he's doing. You ready?
Hey everybody, it is wonderful to see you. I have some updates for you as it relates to traffic. Yes, finally. That said, what I'm going to show you today is actually not traffic itself, but some of the things we've had to do on our way to it. And these are things that we're launching right now. Specifically, in order to properly sequence traffic, airports take advantage of things like SID and star shortcuts, airport vectoring solutions, and even holds in order to get the sequencing the way that it's supposed to be. We already support the concept of direct twos and shortcuts and things like that, but they're generally done at the request of the pilot. We're taking that to a whole new level today. We already use large language models as part of our total air traffic control stack. We use them to interpret the intent of the pilot. We use them to rephrase the intention of ATC back to the pilot with the purpose of making it feel very conversational and flow naturally. But we use a lot more AI technology than just large language models. The problem with large language models is they're not capable of doing more advanced levels of analysis and decision making. Geospatial awareness, any kind of mathematical calculation, things like that are just way outside the capability of these models. But there are other AI models that are capable of these things. And I want to talk about some of those things today. And I want to talk about some of the new things that we're bringing with those models into our air traffic control solution. The default behavior of most air traffic control systems is that you fly your flight plan. Basically start from the beginning, you go through each step, you arrive at the end, and it's exactly what you filed. But in the real world, air traffic controllers have a very dynamic approach to ATC, where the flight plan is essentially the framework for the flight, but they do all kinds of things to make adjustments while the pilot is in flight. This is especially important when we start talking about sequencing other traffic. But one example of this is the concept of SID and star shortcuts, where ATC may decide to alter the route of your star or alter the route of your SID in order to handle sequencing of traffic, or maybe they're just trying to get you done faster because there is no traffic to sequence. Now, we've always supported the concept of direct twos, but these were typically done at pilot's request. But we're taking it to the next level now by actually allowing AI to make decisions about those SID and star shortcuts in real time. So why is that so interesting? Why is that so hard to do when you can mathematically determine a shortcut just by looking at angles and altitudes and things like that? Well, it turns out that's not how real air traffic controllers give shortcuts. In fact, shortcuts are based on local procedures and generally local knowledge that's not published anywhere. So while the chart or the math might show that a shortcut is possible, there's way more factors that play into this. Things like noise abatement procedures, airspace restrictions, height restrictions, terrain, those kinds of things. So we can't just go by a basic formula and determine angles. We have to take it to the next level. So if we want to provide a real-world departure experience or a real-world arrival experience that's both dynamic and matches the procedures and the requirements of a given airport or airspace, there's only one way to do that: analyze the data. So by taking a look at the historical data that comes with real flights, we can actually determine where the shortcuts are actually taking place. Then we feed that data into a predictive AI model, which can then build a dynamic arrival or departure sequence for that airport. This means that your arrivals and your departures are just as unpredictable as they might be in real life. And of course, we can use this exact same approach for traffic sequencing. In other words, it's not basic math, it's not basic vectoring, it's not just flying the procedures. We want to create the same experience that a real-world pilot would have at that airport, on that departure, at that time of day, in those traffic conditions. Let's take a look at a real-world scenario. This is Dusseldorf Airport. This is the Halmi transition. You can see the flight path is very strange, arriving here, coming down, going over a U-turn, and actually at this point you'll receive airport vectors back around again so that you're lined up with the runway. There might only be just an hour or two a day where the airspace is so busy that this is needed, but the rest of the time there's no reason to make the pilot fly the full approach. So after feeding in the predictive analysis, let's see what it comes up with. It turns out there's a shortcut possible between Halmi and Metma, and it's a shortcut that's actually given in real life in these circumstances. Let's listen to what that sounds like.
Lufthansa 319, descent altitude 3,000 feet. Proceed direct Metma.
But air traffic control has some other tools they can use for sequencing and spacing as well. Specifically, holds. Holds are interesting because sequencing isn't the only reason that air traffic control might put you in a hold. In fact, it's one of the less likely reasons. we're now modeling some of the real-world airport operational and logistical issues that might cause a hold. This is what it might sound like if you were put into a hold at DL429.
Lufthansa 319, I apologize for this, but we've got a maintenance issue with the localizer on 25 left we're working on. Hold at Delta Lima 429, left turn. Hopefully it won't be very long.
Again, we're modeling all of the logistical and operational challenges that any airport has based on that predictive analysis. And we take it one step further. We're now able to do the same thing with vectoring. Vectoring has all of the same challenges I've mentioned before. Vectoring isn't necessarily a mathematical solution to a problem. There's all kinds of reasons why a vectoring solution might not be the perfect series of angles, airspace restrictions, noise abatement procedures, etc. So we're using the same approach here to model proper and correct vectoring as well. Everything that I've just shown you is because we're in the middle of creating the most comprehensive, immersive traffic injection system that's ever been created for flight simulation. And while it's going to take us a little bit of time to get all of the predictive analysis models loaded for all of these different airports and procedures and things like that, I'm happy to report that everything I've just shown you, we're making available to partners now so they can experience it as it's being rolled out. We consider it alpha quality, but as soon as it's ready, we're going to roll it out to everybody. I hope you're as excited about this as I am. We're taking it to the next level.
How cool is that? How mad is that, lads? Right? So that's all coming from SayIntentions. And yeah, you're probably sitting there going, my head hurts. I spent the entire night calling Mike, Mark. Right. And like, bless him, he didn't even turn around and call me an idiot. Eddie, when you talk to Mike, tell him I'm really sorry. I'm going to like get a t-shirt, hashtag Mike Matters. Oh, Jesus. But listen, very interesting stuff here from SayIntentions. And the whole point, lads, is to show you, you know, there's other add-ons, there's other creators out there that can enhance and complement all the other products that we currently have in a flight sim, right? So when you look at the likes of, you know, Navigraph, and then you look at the likes of, you know, SimBrief integration, or even things like Active Sky, they're all different ways of enhancing, you know, what's already there in the sim. With SayIntentions, it's so much more than just the ATC side of the house, which I'm very interested in, because yes, it's SayIntentions, it's AI voice driven stuff, but it's not just as simple as, well, here's a few voices and you're going to follow, you know, these procedures. They're getting the tech to think for itself. And we flew using SayIntentions last night in a DC-3. We were getting direct twos all over the shop. In actual fact, the flight plan that I had logged changed. They gave me a different arrival. And a lot of the time, even on VATSIM, it depends on the traffic, right? I mean, when you have a very busy airport on VATSIM, yes, you're going to get a lot of changes because, well, they're trying to keep separation of aircraft and keep the flow moving, right? They'll put you in a hold, or, you know, they'll divert you to somewhere else. They'll give you vectors. To be able to see this now in a product like SayIntentions, this is awesome, because it means that if you don't feel comfortable on an online network, well, you're getting, like, it's so close to getting to that level of realism that you can practice in the comfort of your own, you know, in your jocks, right? Anyway, sorry, Dougal, the camera was moving. Right, lads, for our last bit tonight, because time is moving, we're going to be checking out a brand new release here from Aeroplane Heaven, and a vintage aircraft. And let me see here now. Aeroplane Heaven. This is the Hawker Fury, right? And they released this alongside the Hawker Nimrod. And interesting machines here, lads. Where's me information? Over here. So the Hawker Nimrod Mark II and the Hawker Fury Mark I for Flight Sim 2020 and 2024, priced at $24.49 US. The duo of iconic interwar biplanes now available to purchase today, and marketplace release. I think it's out in the marketplace right now. Airplane Heaven also released a short tutorial video demonstrating the starting procedure for these aircraft. I didn't watch it, so you'll have to help me. But they used the Hawker Nimrod as an example. The techniques are the same for both aircraft, and they apply equally to both sims. A detailed breakdown of the pressurized gas starting system can also be found in the downloadable manual on the developer's website. Designed originally by Sidney Cam, the Hawker Nimrod and Fury, well, they share design similarities, but they were built for very different operational roles. The Fury was land-based, used by the RAF as a fighter, and the Nimrod was a carrier-based version, had a wider wingspan, an arrestor hook, and a more powerful engine for naval operations. Both aircraft were equipped with 2 forward-firing Vickers machine guns, synchronized to fire through the propeller and could carry a small bomb load. Despite being cutting edge for their time, they eventually were surpassed by the newer monoplane designs by the late 1930s. Their legacy, however, continued into the future Hawker aircraft, including that, of course, of the legendary Hawker Hurricane, which Aeroplane Heaven also has in its aircraft portfolio. So with this add-on, we are getting 2 variants. We're getting an authentic high-fidelity model, detailed animations, new animated British pilot model for use in Flight Sim 24, realistic flight dynamics, faithful reproduction of the early Rolls-Royce pressurized fuel and magneto start system, a full WI sound pack replicating the V12 Rolls-Royce Kestrel engine, and we get a number of liveries here as well. It's a beautiful aircraft. So we're going to check it all out, right? So, well, let's go check it out, right? Please kindly do not promote SayIntentions. Why not? Sure, they're doing great things. Are you mad? You don't like them. Sure, you don't have to like them. That's the great thing by having options in Flight Sim, do you know? Yeah, that concept of being able to fire machine guns through the prop. I can't remember whose stream it was when I was watching it. You know, Chase, the fella just got kicked out. Bless. Good man, Muse. I remember looking at a video. Was it Fabio who streamed it, I think, about the P60? I could be wrong. But anyway, the idea was they used this clutch system of the aircraft. And it basically, when the machine gun would fire, whatever clutch system would work, it would sink itself going through the prop. As in, don't hit the prop. And you can imagine, you know, Jesus, right? So absolutely mad. Mad stuff, lads. So what we have here, we're looking at the model. It's beautiful, isn't it? And it comes with a number of different liveries. And with the Hawker Fury, this one, of course, land-based. And well, you can see the details Aeroplane Heaven have put into it, right? It's a very fancy machine. Wicked lumberjacks. Good to see it. So stepping up into the craft, well, you can see the detail on it. They've gone into a lot of great detail, especially up this close. So as we step up on into the little cockpit, well, it's very compact, isn't it? We have our twin Vickers machine guns, look. And there they are there. What were they? 303 were they? But even the angle in which that they're at, look. Isn't it mad looking? Now, I thought they were water-cooled, were they not? These appear to be air-cooled, unless he's modelled all this in here, and that's the water tank. Interesting. Right, what else do we have here? Well, looking at the airframe, the chassis of the airframe itself, we can see it doesn't have a tail wheel as such. It has a kick skid, or a tail skid. And yeah, you can definitely see similarities with the Hurricane. If you were to take off, think about it, lads, remove the top wing of the biplane, look at the shape of that fuselage, look at the entire style of it here, all the way down to the tail section, right? I saw pictures when they were designing the Hurricane. It was like, okay, take the Fury, take off the top, bring the cockpit forward, which they did, but it was the same sort of shape, right? Just made the aircraft faster and way more stable and more maneuverable at the same time, do you know? So what have we got here? Look at the cables and the pulleys, look at the detailing. That's very, very nice. Talk about a manual aircraft. So the starter procedure on this is not straightforward at all. And yeah, I need to figure out, can I start it? I may not be able to start it, but we're going to jump in and see what it's all about. Beautiful detail on the wheels here as well, look. It's a visually stunning add-on. Visually stunning, right? So, well, let's, I'll look at the air cool down here then as well, look. So the grille looks great. In behind it, I don't know, was that just it wouldn't have been solid. It would have been like a mesh kind of radiator, wouldn't it? But then we also have engine cooling in here with the air intakes. And then we have our exhaust coming out the side here, look. Nice. Right, so let's see what this machine is all about, right? So we're in Fishburne. This is from Burning Blue Designs, lads. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. So welcome here to the cockpit. And I don't know what that does. Right, let's see what we can see here. So we have a mixture, which is there. Here's our main throttle. Trims. Look at the detail on the rudder pedals, look. With the pulleys and the cables. And if we touch on the brakes, see the brake pressure over here on the right? That's based on my pedals. We have this gas start primer. And then we have, what's this now down here? K1 gas. But not in use. Can't do that with that. Oh, there's a primer. I don't know what this does. What else can we do here now? What does this do? Oh, that removes the pilot look. Oh, nice. It's a nice little click spot. Ah, look at that as well. That's nice. You put the harness hanging out over. That's a nice touch, isn't it? I'm dreading, hoping the sounds are better than the last. Yeah, yeah. What else do we have now? Over here, we have oxygen. Right, we can turn this on, I'm sure. Move the valve. There's your pounds of pressure. It says we're empty, though. That's not a good sign. We'll harness ourselves in. What else do we have here? Look at that beautiful compass, lads. Anyone remember the name of that compass? I'll hide it so you can't see it. Does it function? Oh, it does! It works. We did a bit of work on this compass before, do you remember, when we did our 1940 series? It's a P1 compass. It's nice, isn't it? Right, I don't know what that is. It looks like it shouldn't be there, but most definitely it should be there. Interesting. We have radios over here on the left-hand side. We have a little chrono. We have contact engine switch. Mags, I suppose. Jesus, look at the detail on the guns, look. Can we do one with these? No, that's the radio. Just a big... How did these fire even? I mean, was it a case that you held them and they pushed forward to fire? Was it? It must have been, right? That's a bottle opener, right? It's a bottle opener. Now, in terms of powering this up, lads, I couldn't tell you. We'll see, is there anything in the sim to help us out? Aircraft, checklists, level expert, pre-flight, before starting the engines, make sure your parking brake is set. Parking brake is down here. Nice. Okay, parking brake is set. Warm-up, ground test, radios. Okay, that's it. That's all they have in terms of a checklist. All right, that's unfortunate. The fact that they have some and not all. Is it a red light? I don't know. Don't know what. There's a lot of. Oh, hang on. That's the primer. There's a lot of switches we can move, but we can't really move. Now, what we can do, lads, we'll go over and grab some documentation, shall we? Where is this now? Innovative features. It's very beautiful looking. Where's the see now? Is there? I can see the page, but I can't see downloads. Manual. Here we go. Manual on the way. Ah, beautiful. Here we go. Ah, I love this. Airplane Heaven do great work with the manuals. High definition simulation of Hawker's classic pre-war biplanes. Pre-war. I can't speak tonight. Poor old Mike. There won't be a pint in that. Well, I'll have to buy him a pint now. Ah, Mark, is it? Jesus. Anyway, the Hawker, Nimrod and Fury. So we're getting some history about the aircraft. Nice. More information about it. Some of the features of it. And the liveries that they've included. Nice. This is probably why what they had the instructions pack back then anyway. Start and hope for the best. Brilliant, right? Does it have dimmable windows? Sure. So here we go. So the main panel, turn slip coordinator, brilliant. So what was that switch down there? 26. Battery indicator light is 25. That doesn't look right. Panel lights. Oh, they're panel lights. Okay. Starting it. Okay. Step 1. Right, let's see what we can do. Let's follow the manual. Turn them off. Step 1. Turn on that. Red light shows. We have power. Okay. Now, I do have sounds, but hang on. I need to make sure we have more sounds. Turn on my Stream Deck here for a second. We need to detect Microsoft Flight Simulator. And we're at 30%. That's a problem. There we go. Right, we have sounds. Okay, step 2 is going to 10 pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Step 3. is open the gas starter marker or mastercock and pressurize fuel. So open this. Okay, she's open. Step 4, the bottom one, 5 pumps or 4 pumps. Open the gas, pressurize fuel flow, unlock the engine primer and then pump. I can't, I don't seem to be able to move that button. Have we found a bug? Oh, hang on. There she is unlocked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more for good measure. So there's a little click zone. Just hit the outer brass on it. Step 5. We need to hold this gadget for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step 6. There's a spin and 7. Ah, brilliant! Jesus, it sounds good, doesn't it? What a way to go, lads! Step 8, give up and go to the pub. Listen to the sounds, they're quite impressive. Sounds like too much exercise. Right, sounds are good, lads. Sounds are good. Right, radio comms and nav options. Bring this guy back over. Let that engine warm up. Desired heading, new heading. Okay, so that's all the. That's all to do with the compass. Johnny Ardvac, 49 months. Thank you very, very much indeed, my guy. Now let me see. So we have flying the Nimrod, and then we have our checklists. 8 pages, but I was able to follow it. Good job there. Right, off the brakes. Now, how is this going to taxi, lads? Bit of power. Okay, so we can steer it with our rudder pedals. Does it come with a touchscreen Apple Connect? Does it come with a car kit? She doesn't have flaps, right? Sorry. Let's go this way. Oh, it's quite nice, this. Right. In between the little gap here in the hedge. And we'll take off heading down the little hill, will we? There's an apple in the lunchbox. Ooh, you divot you. Jeez, the speed of that. Alright, will we just kind of, you know, see what happens? Power coming in. Here's our boost at 0. And let's go boost 2. And let's see what happens. Here's the tail up. And upsy daisy. Alright. Engine ticking over sounds. I love the RPM is on an angle, look. We like that. Bottle of brandy needed. Alright, let's ramble over here to the left. The sounds are a little bit... but they sound good outside. So the sounds inside, yeah, they're not bad. Alright, circling around here. It flies really nice. Yeah, It's terribly nice here on the airplane. We're flying over the British countryside. Jesus, this is nice. She's getting bashed out of it with the old turbulence, look. Oh yes, we like this, lads. Terribly nice. So it's available on both flights in 2020 and 24. What do we think? It's very pretty. I mean, it sounds good, it looks good, flies really well. The roll is actually quite hard to don't die, Murphy. The roll, it's not as easy to roll the aircraft, so you do get a sense of it not being, you know, the most agile of aircraft. It seems to be more comfortable doing stuff like, you know, a loop more than anything else. But like, it drops the speed so fast. Wonder what its stall characteristics are like. Let's have a look. Easy now. So you've a gun sight and then you've another sight. Unsure what that is. It's not magnified from what I can see. No. Just a different sight. So the Hawker Fury and the Nimrod being a carrier-based variant of this aircraft, slightly wider wings, bigger gear, I think. For $25, lads, this is quite nice. I think Airplane Heaven, like, they've needed a win. They've really needed a win. I think they've got it with this. It's a beautiful airplane. It's to spot the pirates. It's a scope. Would have low magnification. Ah, okay. What do you think? Is there something you might be interested in? We're bringing in for a landing here to see what we can do. Airport's over there. Bring the power back. An awful size is Big Al. Does the Aruga work? Ooga! Not really my thing, but it's nice. Where's that airport gone? There it is. Yeah, so like you're talking the late 20s, early 30s. I mean, that's kind of, or even the mid 20s, I suppose. But it's interesting to think, I mean, this is where, you know, this is the foundation really of the Hurricane, which is pretty awesome, right? UTV, good to see you. It handles nicely. Is that like a light, I wonder? Maybe it is. I like the startup procedure of it though. All right, let's see what happens when we try to land the machine, shall we? For sure interesting, but wouldn't spend much time flying it. Yeah. I think you kind of want to be into these sort of vintage aircraft to enjoy them, you know what I mean?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for subscribing, man. Oh, Jesus, go handy, Murph. Easy now. Right, landing up a hill. Hold the nose. Easy. There's a little bit of a bounce. Easy. There's another bounce. On the brakes. Don't tip her over. Onto that skid plate. And keep the pressure on the back. Nice. It handles nicely. I like it, lads. I think they've done a great job with this. Like, I'd certainly like to see, you know, updates for some of the other aircraft, but it's really nice. Liking that's available on both sims. I just use it through the add-on linker, Johnny. That's what I do. Install it on one and then just add it in with the other one. Like, there's our gun sight. It's mad looking, isn't it? To be fair, Airplane Heaven, with their modelling here, they're very up close. Textures look beautiful. Right, spin it in front of the crowds. I nearly tipped it over. I like it. It's nice, isn't it? So, Airplane Heaven's Hawker Fury. It's also part of the Nimrod. And, yeah. Little bow at the end, yeah. It did. It sounded pretty nice. Yeah, it's a nice... they've done themselves a really... Like, and there's lovely details in it, lads. Like, even the... You know, even where the... where you... The hold hands... Where you put your hands to get in and out of the aircraft. I think they've done a great job. Plenty of detail. Great texture work. Look at the textures there, look. Reflective in the whole shebang. It's nice. And I have to say, their pilot model is pretty good, isn't it? Tally ho, Rajan. They've done a good job. Done good. Jeez, it must have been an absolute divil getting in and out of that thing, though. There's no door. Is that a door? No, there's no door, look. Jesus. Yeah, straight in the top. Nice touch. Would you recommend some of their add-ons? Yeah, like, I mean, the Hurricane, or the Hurricane is quite good. Their Spitfire is good as well, the Mark 1. Of course, Airplane Heaven gave us the DC-3, lads. And we're still waiting on their Avro Lancaster. Which I've a sneaky suspicion they don't own that anymore. You know, I wonder did they sell it to Microsoft? I don't know. But it's very, very good. Very, very good. But anyway, lads, that's going to do us for tonight. I'm a little bit early on the finish side, but sure, there is another add-on I want to check out, but I'm not going to get it done in a couple of minutes. So we're gonna show that one off next week, and it's from Got Friends. So we'll have a blast on that one next weekend. But I've given up on the Lank. Yeah, you know. But lads, I want to thank you all so very much indeed for tuning in tonight. Hopefully, you know, you've learned a thing. Keep the party going. Tabletop Android, good to see you. We're back on Friday night. We have a group flight with thanks to, who's this week? It's Commander Ballas, I think, isn't it? Hang on a second. Let's look at our schedule. This is our Discord, by the way. Exclamation point Discord. That's where we all hang about when we're not on a live stream. But yes, the flight on Friday, thanks to Commander Balosh, we're going to be taking a spin in Germany with the Black Box BN2T. That's the Turbo Islander. We're going to go for a now spin in Germany. That's what we're doing on Friday night. And it's been a busy week so far. I mean, we're working away on the Aleutian Sky. That's our DC-6 flight. We did our Euro Truck Simmon and our Flight Simmon last night. That was Aero Hall. Tonight, of course, was the news. All thanks to SayIntentions. And then on Friday night, we're going to be doing this flight, and looking forward to it, because the sounds on the updated version of the Islanders, absolutely incredible. So yeah, we're absolutely looking forward to this one on Friday night, and we'll be kicking off at 2000 Zulu. I want to give a massive shout out and thanks to IniBuilds, to Mike. Not Mark. I said Mark because I'm a Muppet. Mike, right? And I can't believe I got his name wrong. And I wouldn't mind. It was actually right on the friggin' screen. And I'm almost certainly introduced Mike as, head of production, and it was Mike. I didn't say Mark. But anyway, and a massive shout out to Cameron as well. It was a tremendous insight into what IniBuilds are working on. And that A350, lads, it looks absolutely incredible. Oh shame, yeah. Straight into the bat now. And he'll forget. And I wouldn't mind, right? This is after me moaning about Blue Games getting my name wrong. And sure, look at me, the Muppet. Irish mics are called Mark. Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell him anyway. But to everyone, for all the new followers tonight, lads, I really do appreciate you stopping by. I hope you found tonight insightful, especially for the A350 and also all the other flight sim news as well. And of course, some of the awesome updates on the way from SayIntentions, really, really good there as well. The Irish invented mics, we did. Also, a massive shout out to our community managers, the mods here tonight, who I ignored for the first hour and 40 minutes because my screen was taken up. But to Gibbo, to MuseFan, and to Old Veteran, thanks for putting up with me. Mr. Two-Tone was in there as well, prepping me up. I was all nervous earlier on, and I don't usually get nervous, but I was nervous. But anyway, I'm all right now. I've gotten over the
Dreamy,
fact.
sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
And I told you at the start of the stream, I didn't do anything terribly stupid today. I've now done it. So tick the box. So 777, if you're still here, I've done something terribly stupid today. Right? Brilliant. Anyway, lads, that's it for tonight. Thank you all so very, very much indeed for watching. And we're going to see you on Friday at 2000 Zulu time. So until then, you take care. That just didn't want to play. That's the second stupid thing I've done tonight. Good luck to you. Easy.
Terrain. Pull
Easy. Get her down. Get her down.
Pull up.
Reverse. Oh, come on, you can do it. Oh, we did it. It did a thing. We actually got the thing down on the yoke with the thing. Would you look at the state of that? We need celebratory music. First time. Oh, we've got a gun sight. This is a beta, so I'm not too worried. It looks great though, doesn't it? Listen to this.